special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Tradition at Texas A&M may be the richest in college football, from reveille to the corps of cadets to the 12th man. And tonight, the Aggies play their biggest game of the season against the surging Oklahoma Sooners. 82,000 plus, including a former president of the United States, will rock Kyle Field. Thought by many to be the nation's best back, Adrian Peterson was lost to Oklahoma a month ago, and the Sooners didn't lose a step. Junior Alan Patrick has taken his opportunity and run with it. While Bob Stoops' team is seeking its 4th straight win in his 100th game as their head coach. But home team Texas A&M is riding its own winning streak, fueled by a perfectly balanced attack on the ground and through the air with equal efficiency. The Oklahoma Sooners, the Texas A&M Aggies, on Saturday Night Football in prime time. You are looking live at Kyle Field on a beautiful night for football in College Station, Texas. It's Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines. The Oklahoma Sooners, 6-2 and in pursuit of Texas in the Big 12 South. But the Aggies of Texas A&M control their own destiny. Win out and they'll play for the Big 12 championship. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brett Musburger. Pleasure to have our colleague, Kirk Herbstreit, back from the Game Day Wars with us. And, of course, the coach, Bob Davie. Bob, longtime defensive coordinator here. Tell me about communication for a visiting team.
Well, Brent, every week we get to go to some great stadiums where the home crowd's a big factor. But trust me, tonight when Oklahoma has the football, this Kyle Field will be the loudest we've seen all season. Communication for the Oklahoma offense will be a problem, but I think they have a couple advantages. Number one, A&M is not really a blitzing defense. So as a result of that, Oklahoma won't have to check that play a whole lot at the line of scrimmage. Second thing, Oklahoma does a lot of shotgun in passing situations, silent count. They don't go with the cadence. But trust me, this crowd will be a factor. There's a reason they call him the 12th man now.
The 12th man, I think, is going to have to be a factor to help this Texas A&M defense out and really give them a lift, because you look at Oklahoma, and I know they've had some adversity this year. They lost Red Bomar, their quarterback, back in August to a suspension. And, of course, Adrian Peterson, the top running back in the nation, gets injured against Iowa State. Look at Alan Patrick. The last 2 weeks, not only the yardage, but 35 carries a game. He has been a workhorse. I think Texas A&M may have to commit some people to the line of scrimmage. That's when Paul Thompson could get some one-on-one opportunities to really go after the A&M secondary.
Well, pull up a chair, settle back, and enjoy, folks. The two quarterbacks, Kirk Thompson, Stephen McGee of Texas A&M. Which one of these young fellows will be invincible?
When it finally comes to claim the turf, I'll have to go through you first. And now my money says they won't know about the 1,000-foot high metal lights behind your eyes, invincible. You're invincible.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
You're watching ESPN on ABC, just a few minutes away from kicking this one off in the Big 12. Huge one, Oklahoma facing Texas A&M. One of these teams are going to take a big step towards the Big 12 championship game. John Saunders, Craig James, and Doug Flutie. We'll talk about that game in a moment. But Texas in action as well. Texas, one-loss team, still thinks they have a chance at the national championship facing Oklahoma State. Colt McCoy, 13 yards to Nate Jones.
And again, it's Colt McCoy making a pass, a big play in a game that Texas knows they've got to be ready to play.
He doesn't know he's a freshman. LSU against Tennessee. Interesting finish to this one. Jamarcus Russell with a great drive at the end.
Great drive down the length of the field, makes a big play when he needed to. He had some mistakes, which he's done before on the road, but came through at the end of the ball game and won the big game for him. Florida
now will be in the SEC championship game. Tennessee is eliminated. Now, you think Coach Francione is starting to get going in the right direction here?
He may be headed in the right direction. I guarantee he's hoping that his quarterback stays headed in the right direction. Stephen McGee only has 1 interception and 225 pass attempts. That's outstanding. Leads the nation. He's going against an Oklahoma defense that has forced 13 turnovers. McGee has to be perfect. That crowd has to be into it, and Oklahoma has to be prepared for that crowd.
You know, on the flip side of that, they've been running the ball. Alan Patrick been running the ball 35 times a game last week. This week, it's going to fall on Paul Thompson at quarterback making big plays.
Thompson at quarterback. We'll see you at halftime. Right now, let's go to Reese Davis.
All right, John, Kyle Field in College Station, Lee Corso and Desmond Howard alongside. Talking about Fran trying to get Texas A&M going in the right direction. Looking for a win over a Big 12 heavyweight, 0-7 against Texas, Nebraska, and Oklahoma. So what about your pick tonight, Desmond?
Well, Reese, I like the Aggies tonight. I think that Stephen McGee and that well-balanced offense is going to prove to be too much for Rufus Alexander and that Oklahoma defense. So got to go with the Aggies tonight.
Hey, this is all you need when a 12th man thinks.
There you go, the 12th man.
You're right. I love Desmond. I love this place. I love the tradition here. The spirit is unbelievable. My heart says go with Texas A&M. Forget about it. I'm going. I'm going with Oklahoma, and watch out. I got a gun to show you. Go Oklahoma!
In the face of danger, Corso saying Boomer Sooner. We'll see what happens. Brett Musburger ready for the call here at Kyle Field, Brett.
All right, take care down there. And the Corps of Cadets, part of their wonderful band here in Aggie Land, will lead the team out onto the field. And you can see our sellout crowd in excess of 83,000 on hand here tonight. Thousands waving the white towel in honor of the 12th man. Now the team that has done just about everything this year, they come in 8-1. They're one of the surprise teams of the year. They control their own destiny. Francione's Aggies about ready to roll out onto the field here at College Station. And there is the coach who struggled last year in his 3rd season, but what a rebound this year. Here they come. We're just about ready. Oklahoma and Texas A&M coming up next on ABC. This ESPN production is available on ABC HD, presented by Dish Network. Let's go down to the field and Lisa Salters.
I was talking to Bob Stoops before the game, Brent, and I was asking him what it's like to play here. And he said it's definitely loud and crazy, especially when these fans start their organized cheers. But he said it is no more intimidating than any other Big 12 stadium that we play in. At last night's midnight yell practice, Coach Francione made sure that these fans knew exactly what Bob Stoops had said.
Y'all give a warm welcome to Coach Fran. Oklahoma comes tomorrow. I agree. Their coach said it's no big deal to come to Kyle Field. When he comes out of that locker room, you make sure they understand they're in the wrong place.
Adrian Peterson obviously is not playing tonight, but he says he remembers very well playing here when he was a freshman. He said when these fans start swaying back and forth for that cheer, it makes the entire stadium feel like it's moving. And he said as a player, it's very unsettling to be down down here on the field. Brett.
Lisa, underway. Oklahoma wins the toss and defers. They will handle the ball first. So we will see Paul Thompson, who comes in with a completion percentage of 60.9. He has 13 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. And Kirk, he's getting better and better.
Boy, he is really getting better. He's very efficient. And really, since Adrian Peterson has gone down and Alan Patrick has taken over, we have seen Paul Thompson more willing and more able to run the football and become a dual threat for the Sooners.
From behind that offensive line. Up under center. No audible here against this noise. And Patrick with the game's first carry. Now talk to us, Kirk, about the 2 impact players. You've already mentioned the quarterback.
Yeah, Paul Thompson, of course, taking over for Rhett Bomar. Didn't move back to quarterback until August 3rd, but has been, again, very efficient, making good decisions. Alan Patrick has been a spark to this offense since Adrian Peterson went down. 35 carries the last 2 games against Colorado and then again last week against Missouri. He's proven to be a workhorse in his first couple games as a starter.
The core directly behind the Oklahoma bench. On second down, Patrick again slanting, got the first down. Crosses the 30-yard line to the 33. Jason Jack making the stop. We have mentioned the impact guys, but our Outback Steakhouse offensive line for the Sooners, and this is a young bunch. Messner, the lone senior starter, and over the right tackle, the true freshman from Longview, Texas, Trent Williams. And this offensive line been leading the way for 178.4 rush yards a game. First down and 10 after the Patrick slant. Now from the shotgun. Handing to Patrick again.
Number 23, Alan Patrick, the ball carry.
Toupee with the stop for the Aggie defense. Up front, they're counting on Big Red Bryant, 6'5", 324. He's got a Sunday future. Justin Warren's our leading tackler. He's from Tyler, Texas. Melvin Bullock from Garland, Texas. He provides the senior leadership. He's out. Garland, as I mentioned, and he's a good one back there. Now getting ready is Red Bryant. He was questionable earlier in the week, but he practiced on Thursday. Says he's ready to go. Second down and 5. Patrick, another first down, slashing across close to midfield.
Number 23, Alan Patrick, the ball carrier.
And what you see with Alan Patrick is what you get. As Kirk mentioned, he is a tough guy and a north and south runner. A great block by Big George Robinson, number 72, the 320-pound left guard. But this is Oklahoma football. Run it downhill right at you.
See, I think they're going to force Gary Darnell, the defensive coordinator from Texas A&M, to have to commit safeties up into the line of scrimmage. I think Oklahoma's too strong up front.
Patrick is out and Gutierrez reports in. He's number 21. They show a power eye. Patrick had already had 4 carries. Here comes Gutierrez looking for daylight. Smashes across that first down line, close to the 40-yard line. And the Sooners are moving on the ground against this defense, which has yielded 117 yards a game. Gary Darnell moving in as the new defensive coordinator, bringing a 4-2-5. There is Coach Darnell on the Aggie sideline. And the Stoops thought is let's challenge him early and see if we can move it on the ground. Paul Thompson back in the gun on 1st and 10. Using the silent count. Blocking breaks down. Incomplete.
And anytime on offense on 1st and 10 when you're running the football, you kind of want to go play action. You get excellent pressure right there.
Henry Smith, one of the nose guards, came in and applied a lot of heat. Michael Bennett, defensive end, was there. Second down and 10. Thompson rolling the pocket to the left, going to have to tuck it away. .34-yard line. Melvin Bullock The senior safety making the stop.
They had such great success moving the ball right down the field, 8, 9, 10 yards at a clip, running the football. Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator, taking a little bit of a risk just to change things up, throwing on 1st and 10. They were very fortunate that time to see Paul Thompson pick up some valuable yards there to give him a chance here on 3rd down and 3.
Alan Patrick is right to Thompson's left. 3 receivers are off to the quarterback's right. They're going to try to throw for it. Deflected, caught. 1st down, incomplete. Check it, incomplete. Was knocked away. It looked for a moment like Iglesias had made the catch on the deflection, but he had not. And Oklahoma is fortunate here, Kirk, that it was not picked off.
Jason Jack in his zone blitz, defensive end, drops right into the throwing lane of Paul Thompson, trying to throw the football to Iglesias. Great call by Gary Darnell, that time guessing right, and the defensive end was right there to make the play.
Oklahoma going on 4th and 3 from the Aggie 34. Got it, and into the hands of his best receiver, Malcolm Kelly, the sophomore, Longview, Texas, as are so many of the Sooners from the state of Texas.
And you talk about A&M, truly a bend but don't break defense. That time Gary Darnell comes with the all-out blitz, and anytime you don't play a lot of man-to-man, you see Danny Gore, number 4, playing off coverage. That was just pitch and catch.
Coach, I'm going to ask you, you're a defensive specialist. Why would you have a corner sitting back on 4th and short?
One reason, afraid to get beat deep.
Danny Gore was well off that time, and you can see him up toward the top of your screen. Back with Patrick, huge hole. Crosses the 20-yard line to the red zone, Henry Smith.
And these are great fans, excuse me, Brent, here at Kyle Field. If you want to take the fans out of it, line up and run the football in. Brandon Walker, the right guard that time, an excellent block.
I know Alan Patrick has gotten a lot of credit over the last 2 weeks, but looking at tape and watching this team of Bob Stoops, this offensive line as a young group, very, very impressive.
2nd and 2, Patrick again spins, dives, 1st down. Crosses the 15-yard line. So over the last couple of weeks, you mentioned it, and here's what they've accomplished, Kirk.
Yeah, and I think Alan Patrick, because back-to-back games, stepping in, no one really knowing if he could handle the load, and he had 35 carries in his first start, and then he followed that up again with 35 carries. But Coach, the offensive line has really helped his process out, his growth process.
And one thing I've noticed with Adrian Peterson, Oklahoma tried to run a lot of sweeps and outside plays. They've abandoned that, and now they run it straight downhill. I think it's really helped this offensive line of Oklahoma.
They bunch the receivers over to the left, and they'll run behind that side with Patrick. Another 1st down and close to the goal line. They're going to spot that at the 1-yard line where it'll be 1st and goal. So the Oklahoma Sooners take the opening kickoff, and they are 1 yard away from an 80-yard drive after that kickoff.
And if something's working, keep going with it. They run the power again, the same play with the big guard, Brandon Walker, pulling around. And Kirk, I'll tell you what, this will take the heart out of this crowd and this defense.
And it's the 13th play of the drive coming up. This is Bob Stoops football. Running the ball the way they have the last few weeks and playing great defense. It's a great way to start if they can put it in the end zone.
Patrick behind the fullback. The call. Dive for the touchdown. Oklahoma goes 80 yards. The opening series of the game and strikes first. Garrett Hartley, who is dead solid perfect, kicking extra points, trots out 29 of 29 this season.
Kirk, that's as good as opening drive as I've seen all year, particularly under this situation here with this crowd and the way the atmosphere is.
And Bob Stoops talked all week, almost to the point of getting irritated hearing about the 12th man and going to Kyle Field. Maybe this is what he was talking about. It's the players that have to go out and play, and that was a big drive there. 73 of those 80 yards on the ground.
Hayes McKerchin will put it down. Still perfect. So Patrick is better than halfway to a 3rd straight 100-yard game. 55 yards on this drive and a touchdown. It took Stoops and the Sooners only 13 plays. Next up, it's the Aggies' turn. And Matt, I think I heard John Saunders say that sends Florida to the SEC title game. I'm sure we'll get more on that at halftime as we run down The highlights, some major scares across the country today. Ohio State, Michigan both surviving as they head toward that great 1-versus-2 game. But down south, Georgia does not survive. They're picked off. Florida had a bit of a struggle today. That'll all be coming up at halftime. So now Hartley, who tacked on the extra point, fielded at the 7-yard line by Pierre Brown. They keep it out of the hands of the main return guy, Kerry Frank. Coach, let's go back to that 4th down.
Let's go back. It was 4th and 4. I've never been a big advocate of off-man coverage, but when you play off, you can't back up right away. You see Danny Gorkirk, he just backs up. It's pitch and catch on 4th down right there. That's way too easy.
4th and 3. It makes it pretty easy, but this is the story really of the entire drive. Alan Patrick in the running game of Oklahoma, moving it all the way down the field, and then eventually, no problem. They didn't struggle once they got inside the red zone, and that was something that Bob Stoops really emphasized, is getting to the red zone and coming away with touchdowns on the road.
Here comes a whole lot of offense. Stephen McGee, sophomore, Burnett, Texas. He's back in that gun. You'll see a little bit of everything. Their 300-pound running back is off to his right. McGee now dances left, in trouble on 1st down. He's a good runner. And he is out of bounds as we take a look at the 29 with Rufus Alexander, one of the best linebackers of the Big 12, in pursuit. And Coach Davey, we mentioned the J train, but they got a change of pace in the freshman, Mike Goodson.
I'll tell you what, a great combination here. Jaworski Lane, he's the big guy, 280 pounds, at least 280. He's kind of the dive back, the short yardage back. And in this true freshman, Mike Goodson, #1 running back in Texas last year, 64-yarder, Kirk, against Baylor last week to seal the game.
And they couldn't wait to get him on the field. He's out there now on 2nd and 10. Here he comes in motion. He's got blazing speed. There's the option look. They want to get him outside the perimeter. 35, 40, gone. And hauled down by the corner, Lindy Holmes saves the touchdown. He wouldn't give up. A 58-yard burst. Mike Goodson, who was recruited by USC, among others. It came down to the Trojans. He chose Texas A&M. This is why everybody wanted him.
And anytime you run the option, you better block on the perimeter, particularly the receivers. And number 17, Latidrick Riley, gets a great block, and then he shows the reason he was the #1 running back in Texas. Great speed.
He gets into the open field, and Coach, you mentioned the blocks on the perimeter. Not only Riley, but also Taylor picking one up. And man, when he gets into the open field, that's his comfort zone.
You cannot say enough about Lindy Holmes chasing that kind of speed. A converted wide receiver saves the touchdown for the Sooners. Ball's inside the 15. Here comes that option look again. Now the big fella. Thunder and lightning, and this time it's Thunder's turn. Now our Outback Steakhouse offense. We've talked about the hammer and the dong, but how about this offensive line now? They're averaging, the Aggies are, better than 213 yards a game rushing, 209 yards a game passing. They are putting up 33 points a game behind this offensive line.
And the bottom line, Brent, they are an option football team with an option quarterback.
Courtney Lewis, the senior, who has been troubled by injuries throughout his career, also in that backfield. McGee, the sophomore, keeps it. There's a flag, our first flag of the night. Flag. Wes White.
Holding on the offense. Number 81, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
And what makes this A&M offense so difficult, Kirk, it's hard to practice against this. You know, not many teams run an option, so how do you find a scout team quarterback to simulate Stephen McGee every week? How do you find a 280-pound running back to be this guy, Jaworski Lane? I mean, what do you do, put a nose guard back there all week and try to tackle the nose guard?
Not only that, but the speed of the execution of the offense, I think, when you add all the other dimensions, because it's an offense you just don't see very often, and that's what makes it so tough to get ready for.
Costly penalty. Brings the ball back close to the 20-yard line and puts them in 2nd and 16 against this defense. Now, Stephen McGee, if you think he can't pass and it's just option, think again. He's gone 134 passes without an interception. 1 interception and 225 passes. That's #1 in the NCAA rankings coming into this game. This is a young man a year ago in the Oklahoma game who replaced the injured Reggie McNeil. and he's been the starter ever since. He goes back into that passing formation now on 2nd and long.
And from option to empty no backs.
He has a great tight end in Martellus Bennett, number 13. Steps away from the pressure. He'll run behind the lineman. And there's that defensive speed of the Sooners. They don't let him get free. Larry Burdine, the senior from Lawton, Oklahoma.
And this is why the spread offense, as you see all over the country, is so tough to prepare for. They spread you out in an empty set. You have an athletic quarterback. You spend so much time with your linebackers and safeties and corners spread all over the field worried about the throw that you forget the quarterback's going to hurt you with his feet.
Yeah, but what you do is just what Larry Burdine did. Put your helmet right in that quarterback's chest and see how many hits he can take. This guy can take some hits now, Stephen McGee, but pound him every time he wants to carry it.
Looking for a receiver. Great coverage. A penalty flag flies. The referee threw it as the ball is thrown out of bounds on that far sideline.
Holding on the offense, number 75. That penalty is declined.
Field goal time.
4th down.
Senior Lane Newman, 7 of 9, attempting field goals. He'll trot on out to the field now. Number 32. His holder is Chad Schrader.
And Newman, one of the few guys that doesn't wear a shoe. Lane Newman, he just has a sock on that left foot. That's a little different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me check that. That is, he uses a different holder. Ty Brannion, the coach telling us that the left-footed kicker and the right-footed kicker, they each want a different holder. This is Brannion who put it down perfectly. And the Aggies are on the board. The holding call stalls the rally. The Aggies settle for 3. Sooners lead it 7-3.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. The low fare from here to there. It's on Southwest Airlines at southwest.com. Singular, raising the bar. Hummer, like nothing else. And IBM, what makes you special?
And last night it was a little Friday Night Lights for us. Bryan High School 31, Parker Heights 7. Coach, you see any prospects out there?
Well, first of all, what are you doing with my hat on?
I like the hat. Looking good.
But Bryan High right here in town, coached by Emory Ballard's son. Emory Ballard, the longtime A&M and Mississippi State head coach.
It's one of the great traditions. The 12th man. This young man has been the 12th man. Wears it on the kickoff team, representing the student body. Let's check in now with John Saunders.
Brent with our SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. First, a little golf from the Tour Championship. Adam Scott watched his shot on 15. Nestles up to about a foot. Has that tap in for an eagle. He is your final round leader. Final round coverage comes tomorrow at 1 Eastern. And Invasor wins the Breeders' Cup in a surprise as Bernardini comes in 2nd place. Brent, who'd you have?
I did not have Invasor, but Kirk Herbstreit did, because I saw that pick on game day. Congratulations.
Baby.
Did you have 100 down on that partner? That's a $15 win. Meanwhile, here comes Alan Patrick, who's been carrying the running load for Oklahoma 7-3. How'd you happen to pick Invasor? Now, I got to ask you that.
Invasor, I had a few tips. You know, one of our colleagues.
Chris Fowler called you and said
No, not Chris Fowler. Whatever Fowler said, I'd go another direction. Christopher Felica happened to tip me off.
A good handicapper now.
Yeah, not too shabby.
He's one of the better handicappers around the country now. 2nd down and 3. He's pretty good.
Sounds like Brent knows something about that game, doesn't it?
Here's Patrick again. They're starting to gash him with the running game, Bob. They're tearing big holes in this defensive front.
And you know what? I really believe early in the season, or spring ball, with the thought of having Rhett Bomar, Oklahoma was going to try to throw the football around, do a lot of things. Losing Bomar, then losing Adrian Peterson. They are back to basics, Kirk, and just running the ball right at you. And this is impressive now.
I said in the open, Texas A&M, a team that likes to keep their safeties back, they're going to have to get them up into the line of scrimmage because Oklahoma is running the football at will.
Indeed they are. 90 rush yards already and still coming. Why not? They're going to keep at it until the Aggies come up with a way to stop it. Chris Harrington, number 92, there with the tackle.
And Kirk, we talk about A&M being a bend but don't break defense. Look how deep these safeties are. And that's what Gary Darnell wants to do, because he doesn't want to play one-on-one corners on Oklahoma's wide receivers. But you're right. They're starting to stop that run with 7 guys. Virtually impossible to do.
They're going to have to start to commit some people. And then, as you said, then that's what Paul Thompson wants, because then Malcolm Kelly can be matched up one-on-one on the outside.
This could be a big loss. This is Misi Tupe, 24-year-old linebacker from George, Utah. Looked like an injured ankle down there. Now Mark Dodge, the 25-year-old linebacker, will check in and replace him. Let's hope the young man from St. George is not seriously injured on that play. St. George just across the Nevada border in Utah. So here is the young man who was once a member of the Honor Guard. It's just a wonderful story. He was filling out paperwork in the Pentagon on 9/11 when that jet was crashed in, and he helped out with the rescue work. And after leaving the military, he came here to play football. 2nd down and 5. Patrick again breaking to daylight. 3 Aggies bringing him down. He's at the 41-yard line with another 1st and 10 for the Sooners. And here is the picture of Mark Dodge when he was a member of the Honor Guard. Spent 4 years in the Army, and there, of course, one of the terrible tragedies on 9/11. He helped out with the rescue team. The young man whom the coaches say has brought so much leadership to this defense, and they're in need of it right now as the Sooners have them rocking back on their heels. And coming back now with Gutierrez, and 9 more yards before he's slammed down by Jordan Peterson, the redshirt freshman corner.
And this is all scheme right now. Oklahoma taking advantage of the numbers disadvantage A&M has, and just taking what A&M gives you and lining up and pounding the football.
This is the old quarterback in me, but I got to say this. We talk all the time about skill, but I'm going to say their names. Trent Williams, Brandon Walker, John Cooper, George Robinson, and Chris Messner. The offensive linemen of Oklahoma are physically just dominating Texas A&M in their front 7.
Second and 1, Gutierrez for the 1st down. Matt Featherston. And let's check in with John Saunders. John?
Well, Brent, time now for the Primetime Pulse. Want to remind everybody, over on ESPN, Arkansas is a lead of 14-3 over South Carolina. And ESPN2, Wake Forest, they've just started the 3rd quarter, leading BC in a very important one in the ACC. Right, back to you.
John, of course, Wake Forest, one of the feel-good stories of the year in college football. Challenging for a spot in the ACC championship game. Alan Patrick, who has rushed for 93 yards, is trying to get more. Will he get 100 yards in the 1st quarter? Mark Dodge, number 50, there with the stop.
And Kirk, I always felt like this was the best stadium in the country to coach defense, because this crowd's very smart.
Yeah.
Nate rounds out, but you have to give the crowd a chance by getting enough people up there close to the line of scrimmage where they have to check the play on you. If you're going to sit there with 2 deep safeties and just let them run the football, it doesn't matter how loud this crowd is. So get more people up there and challenge them a little bit scheme-wise. Make them adjust offensively.
2nd down and 5. Thompson throwing, juggle, but it's complete. Holding on now was Iglesias. Joaquin Iglesias from Killeen, Texas.
Joaquin Iglesias, not a very highly recruited player from Killeen, Texas. And right now, A&M again playing the pass, but no jam in cover 2. Danny Gore let Iglesias run right up the field on the safety right there.
And Brock Newton, the safety, we've talked so much about their depth hurting him in a running game. That time it provided a nice seam for Paul Thompson to be able to slide in a nice seam pass there to pick up another more valuable yards.
19 more to be exact. Gives the Sooners a 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. Here's Patrick. 3 more yards rushing, and Patrick goes over 100 yards in the opening quarter. 3 games in a row. 14 carries, 101 yards here tonight.
Kirk, I actually saw him make a cut against Missouri. He's one of those guys who would rather run you over than make you miss.
And I think that's his background, playing as a defensive player. His dad was a Masonary, and he worked with him, and he grew up in a way where he really appreciated hard work, and we've seen that mentality now as a starting tailback. But you're right, he wants to run over you, not always around you.
Dane Zaslaw is the back in front of him. Here he comes. Penalty flag comes flying.
Ball start on the offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
And this is
Brandon Walker, a sophomore lineman from Detroit, coach.
Brett, that's one problem Oklahoma's offense has had. I thought they alleviated. They had 5 false starts against Texas, 3 against Colorado, but none last week against Missouri.
Thompson looking for the signal from the sideline. This is a team that hasn't needed the audible. They have just lined up, used the play call from the sideline. Quarterback draw. Thompson, goal line. Touchdown. The second Oklahoma touchdown here in the first quarter.
And Kirk, your guy Alan Patrick got the key block on this play. Watch the tailback. He is the lead blocker right there. He chops the linebacker Justin Warren to the ground.
Really comes down to where that ball was.
Did he break the plane,
Whether or
Kirk?
not he got across. It's not the helmet, it's the football. I'm sure they'll bring this one back. And based on that
think
video,
it's going to come back?
I think it will. If they're going to take a look at this, I'd be surprised to see that be a touchdown, just because it's all about the football getting across the plane.
When the knee, the body is down, where is the ball?
Did not look like it.
No, I don't think he came across.
The previous play is being reviewed.
So upstairs, John Davidson is our replay official. He has the technicians with him. And they'll run it back and forth and take a look at it from this angle, looking down the goal line. Remember, they called it a touchdown on the field. It must be indisputable visible evidence there.
Video, and, video evidence. He does not get the ball across the line.
You sure that that's indisputable?
And you know, they're looking at the same shot. They are looking at the same. We're feeding them the shots they're looking at. Kirk, I'm not sure there's indisputable evidence to overturn that call, though. If I had to guess, the ball didn't cross the plane, but I don't know if we can get it right now from the looks that we
right. That one and the previous play, you could see it. He's down before the ball. His helmet and his shoulders are across, but the ball never gets across.
But how about Paul Thompson?
You see where he rolls? Go back to that. That last one that we saw the truck roll right here indicates that the ball is outside the end zone right here.
Yep.
Now, that's circumstantial. Does it mean that the ball was touched down there with the leg? I know. I don't want to jump to judgment, but that certainly looked like it was outside the end zone.
The play stands as called.
All right. Gave it to him. Okay. I was going to say, with Oklahoma, you just never know with instant replay what may happen after what we've seen with this year. But it is a touchdown, and talk about the crowd. First play, 13 plays. First drive, 13 plays, touchdown. Second drive, 10 plays, another 80 yards, touchdown. So much for the crowd for now.
Yeah, but let the crowd have a chance to be in it. I mean, at some point, right? I mean, give them something to cheer about.
Give the yell leaders need a little help here.
Franchione must be concerned about the defense here tonight. 139 rushing yards in the opening quarter. An extra point away from a kicker who's been perfect from making it 14-3.
And the biggest point, maybe, they've kept the ball away from A&M. A&M leads the country in time of possession. They can't get the football.
.56 seconds left. They'll need all the yells they can muster over there on that far side. (14-3), and the headline is Alan Patrick has rushed for better than 100 yards in the opening quarter of this football game.
You didn't say Adrian Peterson either, did you? That's Alan Patrick has rushed for over 100 yards.
The offensive line is running for 100 yards.
Yeah.
Gary Darnell working with the defense. Kerry Franks, number 8, they kicked away from him, and Pierre Brown returned the last one. And they go for the onside kick. Ball is free, loose, diving for it, OU. The field judge right there to sort it out. The 12th man signaling that they saved it, and indeed they did.
All the momentum on Bob Stoops' side right there. That is
I love the call, personally. I love the call. The aggressiveness on the road. You have A&M on the ropes. I know it didn't work out, but the attitude, willing to take the chance, because if you recover that, boy, you've got a chance to really come after A&M.
Kirk, I do agree. And Jason Carter, actually, if he'd have gone up and caught the ball instead of batting the ball, they may have recovered that football.
He's the young man who blocked the punt, created a safety against Missouri. It was fumbled a second time, and it looked like Gutierrez jumped in on it. Here comes the J train, punishing them down to midfield. We check in with John Saunders. John?
Brent, this time it's the Taco Bell update. Cal facing UCLA. Nate Longshore having a great year. 10 yards to Robert Jordan for the touchdown for the 7-0 lead for Cal. Brent.
All right, John, and of course California taking dead aim at that showdown of the 18th down in Southern California against USC. But now that figures to determine the winner of the Pac-10 and perhaps the Pac-10 representative in the Rose Bowl. We'll have to wait and see how things unfold. So the quarter comes to an end here with the Oklahoma Sooners putting on an impressive offensive show, led by their running back Alan Patrick, the junior from Conway, South Carolina. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. At some point this year, Reveille has seen her Aggies fall behind in every game, and she knows these troops know how to rally. So here they are with a short field after that failed onside kick to start the second quarter. They're working from midfield right now. 2nd down and 4 for Stephen McGee and the Aggie offense. Courtney Lewis, number 25, the senior. And this will leave them with 3rd down. Let's go back to that onside kick.
And there's a reason Bob Stoops called this, obviously. And if they execute it, they get it. It would have been a heck of a play, but Jason Carter had an opportunity. Then they had a chance to recover the fumble. But at 14-3 ahead, I don't really like the timing of that call now.
Well, I think if it works, it's a great call. If it doesn't work, it's a terrible call. I just think it's consistent with Bob Stoops and his personality as a head coach. And Jason Carter had a shot, and Brent, even Darian Williams, after the ball hit the ground initially, was the first player on top of it. He just couldn't squeeze it.
But Leone saved the day for the Aggies. Here's 3rd and 4 now. Big play. They don't want to give it back to this Sooner offense. Timeout has been called. McGee, who was coached by his father. And our Pacific Life game summary from that opening quarter. And rushing, the big difference.
Rushing and lack of balance early in this game by Texas A&M. One of 3 teams in the nation to average over 200 yards passing and 200 yards rushing. And as this game goes on, you're going to have to see Stephen McGee eventually try to have a little bit more, not a little bit more, a lot more balance in what they're trying to do.
Well, to me, the biggest stat is time of possession. Keep in mind, A&M leads the country in time of possession, but Oklahoma's just kept the football away from them. They've had no snaps on offense.
And that's really had a lot to do with, since Adrian Peterson has gone down, and we've seen Alan Patrick take over, it's been about trying to control the clock themselves. For the Oklahoma Sooners, they've had a great ability to do that in their last 2 games.
A number and a name is missing from the Aggie offense so far. Number 13, Martellus Bennett, their sophomore tight end. Against Baylor a week ago, 5 catches for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Sooner defense has put the clamps on him. He's a talented tight end who will flex off the line of scrimmage, as he has this time. Here's your 3rd down and 4. They're going to run for it. The J train to daylight, got the umpire in his way that time to the 37-yard line.
Coach, you've talked about it, how they get in the backfield, and they've got a couple different backs. This time they motion with the receiver, Schrader, but it's interesting. When they need 3 or 4 yards, you know they're going to go to the J train, and he looks like Jerome Bettis to me. He has such quick feet for a 280-pound running back.
And this offense takes all your aggressiveness away because you want to blitz on 3rd and 5, but it's option coming at you.
The head of officials in the Big 12 is going to jump on that umpire for not getting out of the way on that. 1st down and 10. Mike Goodson, the speed back, is on the field again. And he is bottled up. DeMarcus Granger, the freshman, redshirt freshman from Dallas, making the stop, number 96. And here is the J train, one of the few backs to have scored a touchdown in every game this season. The future, obviously, is Mike Goodson, the freshman from Klein, Texas. But when you've got this changeup, this is something.
But maybe the play of the year, 4th and 13 against Oklahoma State. Time winding down. Jaworski Lane one-hands the ball on a pass reception to keep the game going. A&M goes into overtime and wins it.
McGee has thrown only 1 pass, an incompletion in this game. 2nd down and 13. Here comes number 2. And his first completed pass of the night, and he puts the ball in the hands of Martellus and Nick Harris. There's a flag on the play. And he's not going to be happy with Harris on this play. Personal foul.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty and a 1st down.
You can see Stoops getting right in his face mask on that one. Let's take a look at this. What happened here?
I don't think it's a late hit. I think it's taunting, getting over top of him after he made the hit. And I gotta be honest with you. We travel all over the country. That is a very common move by a defender, and I don't mind the call. I like the call, actually. I just wish they would be consistent every single game and every single conference making that call. You could watch 20 games and never see that on a given Saturday, but I like the call.
So did Stoops. He didn't like the behavior of the youngster. Now McGee keeping it. He's into the red zone and out of bounds. We go back to something, Bob Davie, that you said. The onside kick is a good call only if you recover it, and I think we've got another penalty flag down.
Dead ball, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, defense, number 40. Half the distance to the goal line, automatic 1st down.
Curtis Lofton, and this time Stoops does not agree with the call. Let's take a look. You be the judge.
He's letting up here at the end. You know, it's easy to see in slow motion. That is a gray area, and as a defensive guy, Coach,
well,
that's tough to pull a linebacker back.
Don't think, because I've been in a bunch of these games where the call before, when a player taunts, doesn't influence an official to make the next call against a specific team. Trust me, that call before had something to do with it.
He was a foot out of bounds when he was pushed. 1st down and goal. Here comes the big fella. Fumble, got it back. Right at the goal line, but he's marked down. The field judge right there, about a yard short of the end zone. You would make him odds on to get the next carry. Let's check in down below with Lisa.
Well, Brent, I was talking to Jaworski Lane yesterday, and he said he doesn't really think about it when he's playing, but he says when I watch the tape of the games, it is funny to me just to see 4 and 5 guys missing me, but especially to see their reaction when they miss. I said, what do you like the most about running guys over? And he said, without hesitation, embarrassing them and hearing the crowd say, ooh. Brent?
They'll give him a little support here this time, Lisa, back there in that backfield. Chris Alexander, one of the fullbacks, and timeout has been called by OU. They're going to talk about it. See if they can get 13 guys on the field here, Bob, to stop number 11. So we'll take a break. Oklahoma powering to a 14-3 lead, but the Aggies are threatening. We welcome you back to Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines. With Bob Davie, Kirk Herbstreit, Lisa Salters, I'm Brent Musburger. And the Aggies are threatening going toward their beautiful new football complex here in College Station. Number 11. He's the tailback. Here he comes. Stop, lunges forward, and he appears to be just a little short of that goal line. Marcus Walker, a 197-pound corner, comes up and decides that he will take on the big man.
Rufus Alexander slipping through a crack in the offensive line, got a hand in there right as Lane had the football, and did a good job of just holding on the ball and shedding the tackle and almost fighting his way into the end zone.
They list him at 274. The coaches just snicker. Here it comes again. Touchdown. The J train, Javorsky Lane, his 18th touchdown of the season. And the tradition continues.
Those guys were getting their money's worth right there now. Don't they realize that was an onside kick and 2 15-yard penalties? That wasn't that exciting of a touchdown right there, but
doesn't matter. When you're
They'll take it, baby. They'll take it.
Doesn't matter. You've been here, Coach. When you score, yes, indeed.
So you still like that onside kick call, Kirk, right?
I like the attitude of Bob Stoops. I know it didn't work out. It got A&M back in the game, but that's who he is as a head coach.
Lane Newman tacks on the extra point, and it's back to within 4. The Aggies take advantage of the short field. There's the battering ram.
Kirk, you know, the thing I love about A&M's offense, they are a spread the field option offense, but they have the ability for short yardage and goal line to go power and go I formation.
Yeah, I think they're one of the more versatile offenses this year in the country, now that they have a quarterback in Stephen McGee who not only can get it done throwing the football and running the football, but I think he's had a lot to do with the intangibles of bringing this team together. That was an area that was a big concern last year.
When I coached here with Jackie Sherrill, we had a quarterback named Bucky Richardson.
Yep.
Wore number 7 as well. This kid reminds you so much of Bucky Richardson. Same kind of fire and heart.
There is Stephen, a very, very good student. As a sophomore, he's going to graduate next summer. And he said, I can't wait. And he'll be a graduate student for a couple of years playing quarterbacks down here out of Burnett, Texas. And again, Dad was his high school coach. Bouncing kickoff fielded at the 10-yard line. Iglesias cuts back to the right, gives up. Brown's got a hold of him. There's a penalty flag. There's a penalty flag as he's ridden out of bounds on the far side. Did he have his face mask there at the end? There's the flag. The left hand came up and then the flag flying. Yes, indeed.
Against the kicking team. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
There should have been another penalty on the late hit out of bounds.
Remember, we saw Lofton get called for a late hit because he hit McGee out of bounds. Does this one count as out of bounds too?
It should have been called.
No question.
Should have been called. That was even a little bit further out of bounds.
Almost off the grass.
I want to go back on Alan Patrick's 100-yard quarter. He becomes the 46th Oklahoma running back to rush for 100 yards in a single quarter. And what a list he joins when you think about the great running backs through the years. Here he comes again, number 23, bashing for 13 yards and into the arms of Greg.
Well, Coach, we've talked a lot about how he likes to run downhill, and he didn't have to worry about it. There was so much room in the first quarter. He did break a few tackles, but because of his physical nature and because the offensive line has controlled things, he's gotten a lot of his damage done on first down, where they average 7 yards a carry on 1st and 10.
Tupe returns at linebacking spot for the Aggies. Here comes Patrick again, making a nice cut just short of midfield. Let's check in with Matt again in New York.
All right, Brent, let's get a Liberty Mutual update from Winston-Salem, the biggest home game for Wake Forest in years there. BC in town. That's Kevin Marion on the reverse, fakes the handoff and takes it 81 yards. It's a 21-7 game there as Wake tries to take control of the Atlantic Division in the ACC. Into the third quarter, Texas up 23 at home on Oklahoma State.
All right, Matt, next week, Texas will go play Kansas State, an improving Wildcat team. And here it is, 2nd down and 5. Gutierrez, and he is swallowed. That time the defense read it well. Jason Jack, one of the defenders over there on that corner, along with Justin Warren, their #1 tackler.
This is one of the first times we've seen the Texas A&M defensive front not allow one of the Oklahoma running backs get to the corner. Good job up front, as you said, Brent, by Jason Jack not giving up the edge and allowing the back to get to the corner, setting up 3rd down.
But don't you think Oklahoma's much better running north and south? That's the first time they've really tried an outside stretch zone play.
3rd down and 3. And equal to the challenge again. It is Warren, #10, stopping Patrick that time and forcing OU to punt for the first time here tonight.
Interesting here, guys. Moving Justin Warren, the middle linebacker, on 3rd and short all the way to the outside. Nobody picks him up. Very, very easy for him to come down, collapse down, and when nobody blocks you, it's pretty easy for a skilled linebacker like Warren to make a play.
This is Mike Nall, #13, punting. Chad Schrader back deep for the Aggies. This will be down inside the 15-yard line. It'll be Aggie football. The crowd rocking again in Kyle Stadium. The Aggies trail by 4.
Our All-State Good Hands flashback. In 2001, Boston College was looking to upset unbeaten Miami. Down by 5 in the final minute, Brian St. Pierre's pass ricocheted into the hands of Hurricane defensive tackle Matt Walters. Walters ran 10 yards before teammate Ed Reed grabbed the ball and outran defenders to the end zone. The win brought Miami to 8-0 and one step closer to the national title. ESPN on ABC.
8:18 remaining here in the first half. Oklahoma 14, Texas A&M 10. The Sooners scoring the first 2 times they touched the ball. They stall this time. And now McGee and Goodson, the speedster, starting out as the running back here. Let's go back to that lap.
For the last drive, A&M obviously getting great field position. Here's a unsportsmanlike conduct call on Oklahoma. They got great field position after the attempt and an onside kick. Another late hit that time, and it set up an eventual touchdown by J-Train and took advantage of a short field. And we'll see now the momentum is switched clearly in favor of the Aggies. Can they keep the momentum on their side on this drive?
2nd down and 5 for the Aggies. 5 receivers. They spread the field. McGee's 1 of 2. He's thrown only 2 forward passes here with 7:27 left in the first half. And the whistle and a flag thrown prior to the snap.
Delay a game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Costly penalty. He's looking right down the field at the 25-second clock.
And so much of the game when you go empty, no back formation, as you look at Dennis Franchonkirk, is the quarterback making a decision on how the defense aligns, what play he's going to check to, because you have to spread out with them, and it's easy. It's tough to disguise the defense going against a spread empty formation.
Back to 2nd and 10. Throwing the swing. It's in short of the first down. Nick Harris, #5, and he does not get up and straddle the downed Aggie that time.
Sorry, Brent. One of the things that makes this offense unique, we've talked a lot about how versatile it is, but Coach Fran has players who can play different positions. So often you watch a college game and we talk about versatility, yet it's different personnel groupings, different players coming in and out. It almost tips the hand of what might be coming to the defense, and they can adjust accordingly. With this offense, you don't see as many adjustments because of the ability that some of these players have to play different positions.
2 tight ends in. Flushed from the pocket, going for the first down, and got it. Stephen McGee. It was a year ago against Oklahoma when he replaced the injured Reggie McNeil. Early on in his first series in that game, he goes to the sideline and watch defensive back DJ Wolf rip him out of bounds. Up jumps McGee, gets in his face and says, "Is that all you got?" Coach Fran and the Aggies will tell you that they think that play convinced the rest of the Texas A&M players that he could be their leader, that it was a bit of a turning point for the young man in this program. First down and 10 for McGee and the Aggies. There's that option look. He's cut off. Oklahoma defending it very well with Curtis Lofton, and the linebacker sticking right with Stephen McGee.
Now you go back to, excuse me, November 30th, well, against Texas Tech. You can see everything that he's been able to do. And one of the things that is interesting is because he can throw the football. In high school, he was a drop-back quarterback, but he showed up running a 4.46. You talked about the intangibles, what he showed in that game last year. I think they built their whole offseason around his attitude and his leadership.
Second down and 14. He has 5 receivers out. In trouble, incomplete at the 30-yard line, and that will make it third down and 14. And let's check in with Lisa.
Well, Brent, I asked Martellus Bennett about his quarterback, and he said he sure can't take a hit. We often tell him to slide, but he just doesn't want to. And I had to actually tell him, we need you all year. Start getting down a little bit more. He said last year versus Texas, he took a hit just like the one you just saw, and he said, I thought I'd have to go help him up, but he just bounced up like he always does. He said he really set the tone in spring for this offense that they're not taking anything from any defense. But
Lisa, his 2 completions tonight only for a total of 10. And here he needs 14 yards on third down. They've got to get it downfield here. Oklahoma's defense was something to say. Fires, got it complete. First and 10. Chad Schrader, a one-time high school quarterback from Westlake High School in Austin, Texas, whose father was the coach who also once coached Drew Brees. A 22-yard gain here.
Oklahoma bringing the blitz. The only problem is they left too many receivers down in the bottom, and the safety, Darian Williams, gets lost in the mix, not knowing who to take. He decides to go for the tight end, leaving Schroeder wide open to the outside. The pressure didn't get to McGee, allowing him to throw for the first down.
Ball on the 45-yard line of the Aggies. 4.5 minutes left here in the first half. There is that read option. He keeps it. McGee 9 yards on the run before he's taken down by C.J. Ayu.
And Kirk talked about using personnel in different places. That time the big tight end Marcellus Bennett at 6'7" in the open field, blocking out there on the perimeter. And right there, Kirk, that's 6'7" out there blocking on a smaller DB.
Yeah, you know what's funny, when you talk to him, he looks like such a big athlete, and we have an injury here tomorrow, but he is such a big athlete as a tight end. You'd think he's more of a finesse player, but he takes as much pride in blocking as he does in catching the football.
And how about he went 75 yards against Baylor on a slant? We're talking about Marcellus Bennett, this big tight end.
He's one of the classic examples of players, he and Joey Thomas, the tight ends who can flex out and play wide receiver.
And while they tend to Howard Morrow, who's down on the field, it's time for our Aflac trivia question. Now, how many Division I-A running backs have scored a rushing touchdown in every game that he's played this season? Remember, we told you that the J-Train did it just moments ago. He has 18 total. Are there any others? Can you think of any who've scored? And hopefully that is not a serious leg injury for Morrow. He's a sophomore from Keller, Texas. Second down and 1 for the Aggies, trailing by 4. The read option, and then they pitch it out to the speed back, and what tremendous defense by Lindy Holmes, the corner.
This is the veer option, and this time they collapse. Both the defenders who McGee happens to be reading and looking into, both come down. And I think it's a good changeup by Oklahoma because it caught McGee off guard, and it allowed the players on the perimeter for the OU defense to come out and make the play on the pitch.
But it's so much a numbers game when you run option football, Kirk, and they were just outnumbered that time. Really no chance running that into the boundary.
Third down and a couple here. McGee throwing for it and almost picked off. Lindy Holmes read it, and there's a penalty flag. Hang on. Lindy jumped the route. Joey Thomas, one of the tight ends, the target.
Pass interference against the defense, number 11. It's a spot foul, automatic first down.
This is a ball that Stephen McGee would like to have back because Lindy Holmes fooled him a little bit here with coverage. I think he thought he might sag back into coverage, but he jumped the route. And unfortunately for Lindy Holmes, he got there a little bit too soon. That's a good call.
And almost like he misjudged the angle in which to break on that football. He actually ran by Joey Thomas.
Mike Goodson, the running back, on the delay, trying to pick his hole. And he's short of the 40-yard line. Larry Burdine, the senior from Lawton, Oklahoma, up with the stop.
And I'll tell you, we've watched a lot of tape. Mike Goodson, number 3, Kirk, this tailback is going to be a great player here at A&M. It's all about ball security. Young guy, he lost some fumbles early in the year. He was a bit of a liability, but this kid will be a star.
Well, he has that extra gear. And when they tell you that when he went to USC, Brent, as you mentioned, and Reggie Bush was his host, and Reggie Bush was already going to be out of school, you have an idea that he's going to be a special player when they call Reggie in to be the host.
Thomas steps in motion. Can pull back out. And wisely threw it incomplete. I think his target had even slipped down on one knee, so it'll be 3rd down and 8.
And the thing you love about Stephen McGee is he came into the game 134 straight passes without an interception, 1 in 225. Sometimes an incompletion, as you know, is not a bad throw now.
Especially for a guy taking over an offense for the first year and becoming the guy to make those kind of decisions. We talked about his dad being a high school coach. He brings the intangibles, but he also brings the decision making. Perfect fit for Coach Fran's balanced attack.
Here's your 3rd and 8 for the Aggies. Tried a little trickeration, but the Sooners took Schrader. They read him all the way. There is Nick Harris. The Oklahoma defense, you would think, has just too much speed to try and delay with too many end arounds.
I think this one he may have misread. I think that's one of those plays where you think you have an idea as a quarterback. Maybe you predetermine it because you know you're going to have to maybe bounce it to the outside to get more room to run. That could have been a misread there on the option by McGee.
So here comes Justin Brantley, who's averaging 46.8 yards a punt. Reggie Smith is back deep. Zach Latimer, number 46, was closing in on the quarterback that time, and he pitched it out to Schrader, and Harris was all over. Fair catch at the 7-yard line by Smith. So that's where Paul Thompson and the Sooners will take over. They lead it by 4. Minute and 39 seconds left in the half.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. The low fare from here to there. It's on Southwest Airlines at southwest.com. Lincoln, reach higher. Outback Steakhouse, let go of the day. Go Outback tonight. And Aflac, ask about it at work.
Last night's Yale practice, preparing for tonight. Midnight ritual here in College Station prior to a Texas A&M football game. Home of the 12th man. The student body welcomes you to Aggie land. They want to stop on the Sooners. Paul Thompson, the quarterback. Patrick has rushed for 121 yards and a touchdown. And Thompson on a quarterback draw, scoring the second one. 14-10, back with Patrick. And let's check back on the, as Dodge makes that stop for the Aggies. Let's go back to the Aflac and the question now. How many Division I running backs have scored a rushing touchdown every game that they played this season? The J Train is 1. And Adrian Peterson. How many have you got that down? All right.
At least you're in my era here. I like that.
Oklahoma 10 touchdowns in 6 games and looking pretty frisky down there on the sideline.
Sure is.
So they got the sling off, and you know, Lisa's had a conversation, going to be talking to him again, and young Reska looks like he'd like to play some more Sooner football. 2nd down and 6. Bursting for a first down is Patrick again, and Justin Warren trips him up.
I know it's a first down and it stops the clock with 32 seconds, but Paul Thompson has attempted 4 passes in the first half. So I don't think Bob Stoops is going to be in any hurry here to try to move the ball down the field.
Don't want a mistake in the last 30 seconds. Be very content just to run it out and take that 4-point lead into the locker room. A little bit of a gamble on the onside kick after their second score backfired, but they had a shot. Carter had a clean shot at recovering it. And they're going to be very content to go on in. In that first half, Texas A&M with 141 yards, but only 33 passing. And Oklahoma, a couple hundred yards and 26 passing. Now let's check in with Lisa.
Thanks, Brent. Coach, first quarter, you just scored a touchdown to go up 14-3. You called for an onside kick. Why that call at that time?
Because we felt it was there, and we had 2-3 guys put their hands on it. We needed to get it. We just felt that the opening was there, and we just didn't recover the ball.
Do you think that could have let them back in it? They went on to us.
Yeah, penalties led to the score. We had 2 personal fouls that gave them 30 yards. So I don't, absolutely not. Had we not touched the ball with 3 different guys, I might second guess it, but no.
All right,
got to be able to recover it. All right.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
All right, Lisa. Coming up on the Capital One halftime show, John, Craig, and Doug will have highlights from all of today's big games, including the top 2 teams in the country, plus LSU at Tennessee. What's going on in the SEC?
Back at Kyle Field in College Station, Texas, where at halftime, after a smash-mouth first half by the Sooners, Oklahoma with a 14-10 lead over Texas A&M. Reese Davis along with Lee Corso and Desmond Howard. Lee, what about the second half now? Not much in the aerial fireworks department.
Well, first of all, if I'm Oklahoma, I continue to run that Alan Patrick. He's the best-looking north-south run I've seen in a long time. But they have 169 yards rushing. But Desmond, they have him set up for the play-action bombs and the misdirection plays. If I'm Oklahoma, fake and go deep and try to score some touchdowns.
Yeah, Coach, this was a no-brainer. They have to be able to stop the run. For the Texas to get into this game, the Aggies have to stop the run. They have to control the line of scrimmage. Right now, Oklahoma's not only controlling the front 4 on the Aggies defense, but they're getting it to the linebackers too. So that's why they're controlling the line of scrimmage and controlling the run.
Yes, sir.
They've been dominant in the first half, but the lead is only 4 at halftime in front of an electric crowd here at Kyle Field. Second half, not too far away. It's coming up after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Texas A&M will get the football to start the second half. There you can see the comparison. Patrick for Oklahoma was not stopped. Goodson was on his long run, and they settled for a field goal earlier in the game. It is 14-10. We now check in on our Southwest Airlines playbook coach.
And we've talked all night about the safety being deep. The reason the safety is deep is because the corner needs help, and essentially you end up with 2 guys covering 1, but that eliminates the safety and the corner from run support, and Oklahoma has had success running the football.
Well, with those safeties back, Oklahoma has dominated up front with the line of scrimmage and their offensive line. The Sooners averaging almost 7 yards a carry in the first half, so it'll be interesting to see if A&M tries to make some adjustments to slow them down.
Yeah, Patrick rushed for 132 yards in that first half.
And I think it'll be interesting to see, does Oklahoma continue to be patient, continue to run the football because the numbers game says to run it, or do they go ahead and throw it anyhow and try to open it up a little bit, because Oklahoma can throw the ball down the field on these corners from A&M.
Yeah, and for A&M with Stephen McGee, it's about getting back to their comfort zone, which is versatility and balance. And they were a team that in the first half only attempting 6 passes. You know they're going to have more balance to have a chance to stay with the Sooners and win this game.
Underway here in the second half. Bouncing off a return man and scooped up on the 7 by Pierre Brown. Pierre Brown is down across the 25-yard line in our Pacific Life game summary, and it certainly highlights what we have been talking about, and that is the Oklahoma running game for 169 yards. Neither team showing much with the pass. OU, Texas A&M, guys, we haven't had a turnover in this game.
And you get the feeling both these teams can move the football on the other defenses. So I think this is shaping up to be a very entertaining second half, Kirk.
Important for Stephen McGee here to get off to a good start, to kind of pick up where they left off once the momentum of this game changed after the attempted onside kick by the Sooners.
See what Coach Fran elects to open up with here in the second half. The J train, and he actually loses a little bit there as we check in with Lisa.
Well, Brent, I asked Coach Franchione how important recovering that onside kick was, and he said it was huge. We were down 14-3 at the time. If we had given them the ball again and they had scored, we could have been out of this thing. So we were very fortunate to get it, and now we're right back in this thing. Our guys are feeling pretty good about themselves. But also, he said, we are concerned about how much Oklahoma is able to run wild on us right now, particularly Alan Patrick. Hopefully in this second half, some of our guys can break through there and get him in the backfield. Brett?
And right now, Mike Goodson, Lisa, is back in the backfield, and McGee throwing into the middle, just short of a first down. That was Chad Schrader. Speaking of the onside kick, I ran into former Colorado coach Gary Barnett, who was here doing a network radio show on this game, and he said the onside kick was vintage Bob Stoops, that he had used it against him once, only that time Oklahoma recovered it and moved down for another score. Gary said it was a perfect time to call that play simply because you don't expect it. But I'll go back to saying it's a good play if it works, and that one backfired on him. Third down and short. J-Train now is a running back behind the fullback for the Aggies, and here he comes. He's got the first down. Can't stop the 300-pounder.
We've got him up to 300 now. He went from 274
they tipped
to
off.
285.
I was tipped off.
Were you?
Okay. I cannot tell a lie.
If he's not 3, he's a biscuit away from 3. But there's a look at the feet for a man of his size, whether it's 290 or 300. Look how he keeps the feet moving. And when you're a safety or a linebacker in 230 pounds, you can't stop it.
Exactly. Now first down and 10. Here's Goodson. No daylight there on the left side. And Stephen Coleman, the junior defensive lineman. We note that Carl Pendleton, one of the backup defensive tackles, has announced that he's going to quit football and do postgraduate work. He's a terrific student up in Norman, 3.8 grade point average. But one of the reasons he's going to quit is that he became the legal guardian of his brother, who I believe is only 10 years old. So Carl Pendleton in his last year of football is a junior backup in the defensive line for Coach Stoops. There he is there on the sideline. He'll get some playing time. Second down and 10. Here's Goodson. And he was tripped up by Darian Williams, the free safety, the junior from Mesquite, Texas. And it looks like he's shaken up just a little bit. The freshman from Klein limping just a little bit as he takes himself out of the game.
You see how this A&M offense just slows the Oklahoma defense down with the threat of option every play. And then the last play, Kirk, they come with a draw. So they take virtually all your aggressiveness away and don't allow you just to run up the field on defense.
3rd and 2, and Courtney Lewis, the running back for the Aggies. He's going to get the call. No hold. Jammed up. Sooners hold. Big third down defensive play as Rufus Alexander and Calvin Thibodeau swallow the running back that time. Rufus, 42. He's a senior from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. One of the few seniors on this team. I believe that Stoops only has 11 seniors, and that's the fewest that he's ever had on a Sooner team. So if you want to get OU and Stoops, better do it this year, especially if he finds a quarterback.
And only Ole Miss and Minnesota, I believe, have less seniors on their football team than Oklahoma.
Brantley bangs the punt. Smith is swallowed. And he's down around the 20-yard line. So we'll take a break. Coming up, why is this scoreboard outside Kyle Stadium? We'll tell you that story. The scoreboard outside the stadium was placed in plain view of the late reveillees, those who have fallen and have served this school so very well, so that they can always peer and see how their beloved Aggies are making out. Fumble by Patrick, and he got it on the short hop. Fielded like a shortstop. Kept possession for the Sooners. And here's the first lady of A&M, the burial ground for the Reveilles. What beautiful dogs they have been through the years. What great mascots, part of the tradition. One of the cadets, of course, is assigned to Reveille. Takes the dog to class, and I just learned yesterday that if a dog barks in class, the professor has to dismiss it. Now, I would be training that dog to yelp and howl. That'd be unbelievable. Now, here comes Patrick on the short side. You get an idea. Coach Davey, you just know how important this dog is to the students here.
It is, and you love the traditions here at A&M. But as you watch this piece unfold, you can understand also why people poke fun a little bit at the Aggies. But I promise you, Reveille gets special attention on this campus. You see her right there in the student union. Goes everywhere this cadet goes. There's 2 sophomore cadets in charge of her all year.
3rd down and 6. High, incomplete, and the Sooners are forced to punt, and the crowd very much in the thick of it. Manuel Johnson, the intended receiver.
Well, Paul Thompson had exactly what he wanted here, Coach, and an opportunity to convert on 3rd down. Finley, the tight end, takes the safety away, and look at the seam. And an accurate throw, and that's an easy first down.
Kirk, the ball thrown a little bit behind right there.
And Schrader will attempt to return this punt by Michael Cohen. 9:15 to go in the 3rd. A&M settles for a return on this. It's a beautiful punt up over Schrader's head, rolling for the end zone. It'll go in and come out on the 20-yard line. That's a 75-yard punt by Cohen with the wind at his back. So there's a little bit of breeze. And coming up now, you'll be seeing Stephen McGee and the Aggies moving into that wind.
Wireless telephone.
9:05 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 14-10. Oklahoma leading Texas A&M. The Aggies coming out. Remember, they've got that talented tight end, number 13, Martellus Bennett. He played on Coach Billy Gillespie's basketball team a year ago. They'd love to have him back this year. Right now, the Aggie football team trying to get the ball back in his hands. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Let's check in with Lisa.
Well, Brent, I was talking to Martellus Bennett just yesterday, and I said, what are you going to be doing tonight, as you get ready for the game tomorrow? And you'll never guess what he said to me. He said, I'm going to take a bubble bath. At first, I thought he was just kidding me. I said, not really a bubble bath. And he said, yeah, I do it before every game. And I said, I understand soaking in the tub, but why the bubbles? And he said, it just relaxes me. I like the smells. I get a special bubble bath with mango and coconut smells, and that's just what I like to do before every night before the game.
He's a character now, isn't he?
He's one of the great characters that we have been around this year. He entertained us for about 20-30 minutes yesterday. It was a delight. Picked off, intercepted by number 24, Marcus Walker. Walker of the Sooners out of bounds on the 6-yard line, and that ends the string of passes for Stephen McGee. He had gone about 139 passes without a single interception, and now he throws a costly one that gives the Sooners a 1st and goal.
This is a great play by Marcus Walker right here. He reads the quarterback's eyes and beats Irvin Taylor to the spot. It was a 3-step slant. Marcus Walker actually became the wide receiver and undercut the ball.
And when you don't stretch a defense vertically and you consistently throw underneath with short throws, corners start to take chances. That time Walker made a good decision in jumping the route to get the interception.
1st and goal for Thompson and the Sooners. Here's Patrick. He's jammed up at the point of attack this time. And so for the Sooners now, when you take a look at their defense over the last 2+ games, that is the 5th interception by the Sooners. Remember, they had a pair last week. We covered the Missouri game. And here tonight, they snap McGee's streak.
And Brent, keep in mind, this was a secondary early in the season that was maligned. I'm talking about this Oklahoma secondary. So they've gained some consistency. They settled down on who's in the lineup. That was a huge turnover. Let's see if they can capitalize right now.
2nd and goal. The Aggies will try to hold them to a field goal. Lofting incomplete up over Manuel Johnson, and he was defended by Danny Gore, the sophomore from Port Arthur, Texas.
That time down deep inside A&M territory. Gary Darnell, the defensive coordinator, for the first time locking up in man coverage and outnumbering Oklahoma in case they wanted to run the football.
And what you love, Kirk, Danny Gore come up and played bump and run. Didn't play that soft man-to-man coverage like he did out in the open field earlier. But it's easier to do that on the goal line.
Right.
Here's your 3rd and goal. Number 19, Joe John Finley, the tight end, is standing up. He'll come in motion again behind the quarterback and sit down. Thompson looking over the middle, diving, incomplete. It's 4th down. Aggie defense stands up tall again. They will gladly settle for a field goal here.
And Brent, you said it. That is a win right there for A&M's defense. A great block by Alan Patrick. Again, the ball thrown behind. Get that football out in front where the only person can catch is Iglesias.
Coach, he's got to make that. Yeah, he's got to make that catch.
I agree.
Pretty good ball by Thompson out front.
They should have had it. Garrett Hartley. The Aggies and their fans breathe a sigh of relief. Garrett Hartley adds the field goal, but it's only a 7-point deficit now. The George Bush Presidential Library is about 5 minutes from the stadium. The former president and Barbara Bush are with us here tonight watching the Aggies, and before the game he was helping out the grounds crew.
That's an Aggie right there on that tractor, isn't it?
I want to tell you right now that if you get an opportunity and you're in College Station, go over to that presidential library. Right now, along with the former president, they're honoring the 100 greatest Texans, and there's some names all of you will recognize. It was wonderful wandering through there. Some great stories, some things that I didn't know, like his career in the United States Navy when he was a fighter pilot over there. He went down. That was before he attended Yale. And there's a great picture of he and Babe Ruth. George got to receive a memento from Babe, which is still on display back at Yale. And this kick is out of the end zone, and it'll come out on the 20-yard line. Well, a reminder that tomorrow, live final round coverage of the Tour Championship gets underway at noon Eastern on ESPN2. And at 1 Eastern, it moves back here to ABC. We'll see who among a select field of the Tour's top money winners has what it takes tomorrow on ABC.
You talk about golf. President Bush plays a lot of golf with R.C. Slocum, the former coach here. R.C. hadn't beaten him yet. I promise you, R.C. hadn't beaten him yet now.
1st down and 10. It was great seeing the former coach, R.C. Still has an office close by. And what a gentleman he always was. And a very successful head coach here at Texas A&M. They're on the option play, and McGee keeps it. He's a very good ball handler, and Curtis Lofton, who's been very active, up to make the stop on number 7.
You look at Texas A&M offense, basically a form of the wishbone, and this better be a tough guy because he takes some shots in this offense now when he carries that football.
He has completed only 4 passes here tonight. His counterpart, Paul Thompson, has completed only 2. 7-point Sooner lead. They scored touchdowns on their first 2 possessions of the game. Nothing doing on that. This is going to leave in about 3rd and 5, and that's DeMarcus Granger, the redshirt freshman from Dallas, making the stop.
Well, that line's starting to get some penetration up front. Oklahoma, I mean, the quickness and the depth of their defensive line, rotating a number of players at the defensive tackle and defensive end position. Here in the second half, you're starting to see the dividends of having depth.
And we look at this graphic right here. Obviously, both teams struggling throwing the football. Interesting call right here for Dennis Franchione on 3rd and 5. How much confidence does he have in Stephen McGee to throw the football right here?
Goodson, number 3, is off to his left, and right now McGee wants to use a timeout and talk about it over here on the sideline. Dennis Franchioni's eyes upstairs are his offensive coordinator, Les Canning, and he has been with him for a number of years, and he'll send the play on down. Dennis, though, certainly has final authority with the offense. That has always been his specialty as far as football is concerned. And now we're going to take a full timeout. As we come back, we'll see what they come up with on 3rd down. This ESPN production available on ABC HD, presented by Dish Network. Beautiful night for football here at Texas A&M. They trail it by 7 points, 17-10, and face a huge 3rd down right now in the 3rd quarter. The core still ramrod straight. From the pocket, couldn't find a receiver. Can he get it on the run? Dives, got it.
He's talked about how tough he has to be. 3rd down, he goes John Elway here, airborne to pick up the 1st down.
And again, when you go empty no-back formation, the defense spreads out with the receivers. There's a lot of holes in there, and that's why this offense is so difficult to defend when there's a running quarterback back there. There's
the emotion. There's the intangibles, and maybe a 1st down like this could spark this A&M offense.
From the 30-yard line, and the handoff, and the battering ram for 10 more yards. The J-Train not making an early stop.
And when Darian Williams, at 6 foot, 197 pounds, saw the big J-Train coming right here, his eyes lit up. But give Darian Williams credit now. He went down there and tried to make a play. Exactly.
Get him credit for not diving and getting out of the way. But he did stand in there, 295 or 300 pounds, whatever it is officially, Brent. I'm telling you, it's impressive to see him in person, how quick his feet can move, considering that weight.
He can also throw a football about 70 yards. Here he is again. He's leading the way now. And it is McGee picking up 12 more, and it's 1st and 10.
And we talk about this being basically a wishbone offense. This is a wishbone play right here. Kind of the quarterback lead or quarterback duck play. Air Force and Fisher DeBerry run the heck out of this play. This is a glorified wishbone, but they make it much more complicated because of their ability to spread the field.
And you know who else runs this? You can see he's fired up. That 1st down where he was able to dive and pick up the 1st down, huge.
And putting the saddle on the J-Trains, Granger riding him down to the ground at the 45-yard line of the Sooners.
You know, you talked about how you see Air Force running this, but you know, where they spent a little bit of time with Coach Fran and his offensive staff up in Morgantown, West Virginia. So this is a lot of Pat White's offense and what he's made this year so successful for the Mountaineers.
And they all go to Morgantown.
Everybody.
Every coach in the country. And Morgantown's not a place you just go. I mean, you've got to be going for a specific reason now. But you've got to give credit to Rich Rodriguez.
That is Latimer being tended to. You know, let's turn back the clock a little bit. Flashback here. Let's take a... God. Who is this coach over here in the T-shirt?
Oh, no. Wait, look up the shorts. Look,
no, there's a reason I'm wearing those sunglasses.
He got Ray-Bans on and tight shorts.
Yeah.
Looking good, though. About 165 there back in that day.
And when they do the Bob Davies story, Farrell is going to be the actor.
Wow.
Who?
Talk about the anchor man, Will Ferrell.
That's it. Will Ferrell's got it, man. He doesn't have to do Talladega Nights. He's got to do defensive coordinator.
I promise you, I could have come up with some better shots of myself than those ones we just used.
That's all I think all of America wants to know. Were those the coaching shorts with the hands go straight down in the pockets?
All polyester, baby. All polyester back in those days.
Kirk, let me take you back to where the old coach was hanging out.
Oh,
that is unbelievable.
Just hanging out. Beautiful.
Yeah. Put a swimming pool. Actually put a swimming pool in the back of that house. Bought that house for $117,000.
Big turnaround.
Sold it for, I think, for $129,000 in 1994.
Good
Life
times,
was good there.
Good
now.
times, right?
Hey, we won.
I know.
We
Every
won.
year you're
As a
9 or 10
defensive
wins.
coordinator, what was your record here in Kyle Field?
You're supposed to say the record. Don't make me say it. We were 53-1.
That's pretty
here
good
at
now.
Kyle Field in the
That's
9
pretty good
years
now.
I was
Getting it
here.
done.
Yeah.
Who's the one?
Actually, it was 53 losses and 1 tie.
Okay.
But I kind of just go 53-1. I kind of
You got me on that.
Yeah, I've gotten a few people on that.
Pulling out now is McGee. Looking downfield on the sideline and throws it away. Incomplete. Good coverage by the Sooners that time.
And, you know, we have to give A&M's credit to A&M's defense. We go back and holding Oklahoma to that field goal keeps Texas A&M's offense in sync right here. And they're able to continue to run the ball.
3rd down and 8. McGee only 4 of 10. And 42 yards, so he's averaging just a hair over 4 yards a pass in this game, which won't do it. He needs 9 to get that first down here. Blitz deflected, incomplete. Coming at him was Rufus Alexander.
Guys, Oklahoma bringing one more than Oklahoma could handle. They executed. They just have to complete
And
it.
they were not going to let McGee run with that football, Kirk. They were going to make him throw it, and you had to throw right there to Howard Morrow. It's hard to do it all. Be a great option team and also convert in the passing game.
Well, you can see the 3 big protectors back there in front of Brantley. Smith is the return man. And a fair catch at the 20-yard line. Well, near the end of the game, looks like the Chevrolet Player of the Game from each team. And to honor their determination, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Beverly says, come on, let's get that passing game going. What's wrong with you rascals? I think that's a biscuit in the glove. That's what I think.
We'll see if Oklahoma, we've made so much noise about Oklahoma's ability to run the football into a 7-man front. They have not had success in their last 2 drives trying to run the football.
And at some point, they are going to throw the football deep, Kirk, even against this 2 deep coverage, and just test that secondary down the field.
This time, Patrick is thrown for a loss. Gives back a yard or 2. Michael Bennett. He's the brother of the tight end. Number 11 is Martellus' brother.
The first 2 drives, we thought Oklahoma's offense may not be stopped. First drive was 13 plays, 80 yards. Second drive, 10 plays, 80 yards. But since then, adjustments have been made by Gary Darnell, and I just think it's his guys up front starting to battle and doing a better job against OU's offensive line.
Flopping Bennett to the strong side. Again, Patrick is eaten up, this time by Chris Harrington, whose uncle is in the radio booth right next to us. Dave Elmendorf, who was an outstanding player, went on to a terrific career with the Rams. And there is Chris, Jr. from down the road in Houston.
He's been very active here in this second half, showing tremendous quickness against the OU offensive line. That time battling through Chris Messner.
3rd and 10. Thompson back in the gun. Moving the pocket, throws for the first down. Put it in Manuel Johnson's hands. The sophomore from Gilmer, Texas. What a big throw that was by Paul Thompson.
A great job right here of moving the pocket against the inside blitz by A&M. There's no contain out there. They give Paul Thompson an open throwing lane, but a great job of pass protection getting him out on the perimeter.
And one-on-one coverage against Jordan Peterson, a freshman. You'll take that every time.
Yeah, the redshirt freshman was given a lot of real estate over there. 1st down and 10. Patrick now comes back. It's a little softer after that completion. Fumble! The Aggies have got it. A week ago, Patrick fumbled in the Missouri game. And that was recovered by Misi Tupe. Remember, he was shaken up early in the first half and returned. There it is, knocked free. He'd already had one dribbled that he had recovered, but not this time. And it's Aggie football in Oklahoma territory at about the 38-yard line. So here it is for Texas A&M.
And Michael Bennett, number 11, Brent, coming in and stripping that football. You mentioned ball security with Alan Patrick. I believe that's his 4th fumble of the season.
I was going to say, we forget as much success that he has had. He is still a young running back learning how to compete at this level. And if there's any weakness that he has shown in taking over for Adrian Peterson, it's turning the ball over.
Now can the Aggies take advantage? They'll open with the end around. They're going to throw off of it. Looking for a receiver downfield. And out of bounds is Pierre Brown. It was the end around pass, and he could not find a target downfield. Didn't want to risk an interception in that situation, and so he took the loss.
And Pierre Brown was a quarterback in high school, and I think an excellent decision right there of not just throwing that football up, as you see so many times when a receiver tries to throw the ball.
You're talking tonight about Bucky Richardson and how much McGee looks like Bucky Richardson. I remember watching your A&M teams and a throwback many times to Bucky Richardson because of his athletic ability. That's what they were looking to do that time, throwing it back to McGee, but the Sooners have it covered.
2nd down and 14 for McGee from the gun. And he'll throw this one away, and it will be 3rd down. It looked like he had Goodson crossing underneath, and he couldn't pick him up. Burdine applying a lot of pressure.
One thing when you get outside of the pocket, you have to throw the ball across the line of scrimmage.
We've got a penalty flag on the play.
That's what it is. You have to get the ball to the line of, past the line of scrimmage if you're going to throw the football away. McGee that time got outside of the pocket, but he threw the ball away. There wasn't a receiver anywhere close to where he threw it, but he didn't get it across the line of scrimmage.
Intentional grounding against the offense, number 7. It's a loss of down, 3rd down.
And that is from the spot where the ball was thrown, so that's a huge penalty. Watch the pressure right here by Burdine, number 92, just bull rushing up the field. And Kirk, you just said it, that ball did not cross the line of scrimmage. Huge, huge penalty right there.
A loss of down, 3rd down now. And a mile for Dennis Franchione in this offense.
So 3rd down and forever. They'll be content to get a few back, punt for field position here.
Wow.
Threw that one away, incomplete.
That barely crossed the line of scrimmage.
Just across the line. And you think about it, with a minute and a half to go here. If you take a look at the Texas A&M Big 12 record, they're 4-1, and all 5 of those conference games were decided in the 4th quarter or overtime. And we're headed in that same direction here, sitting on a 7 now. And remember, Brantley averaging better than 46 yards a punt coming into the game, just behind Shane Leckler's record here at Texas A&M. Shane may have been the best college punter I ever watched. A one-time high school quarterback, still with the Raiders, off the side of the foot. And it'll roll dead at about the 22-yard line. And speaking of the Raiders, Monday night, the Seattle Seahawks will welcome the Raiders to Seattle. Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern, also available in high definition on ESPN HD. And Spanish on ESPN Deportes. Raiders and the Seahawks. The Raiders are suddenly red hot. Remember when all the talk radio guys were saying they're going to go winless for the season? I don't think so. That's 2 in a row now.
And whatever Archell was writing on that little pad early in the season, Brent, that stuff's starting to work now. We were always curious, what the heck is he writing on that?
Play some defense is what he was writing. They have done that. Now 1st down and 10 for the Sooners, and here is Patrick. Came right back after that costly fumble. Breaks a tackle. Sprints now. There is a penalty flag. Spins into open field. Heading for the end zone. There is a penalty flag. What a great run. But the flag way back.
Was that Reggie Bush on that spin move there?
That was an unbelievable 78-yard run by Alan Patrick. But it is coming back.
Holding On the offense, number 4. 10-yard penalty from the spot. Still first down.
Malcolm Kelly, the wide receiver, guilty of holding.
We're going to see the hold right here, but really focus on the effort of Alan Patrick. This is an unbelievable effort by a guy who was recruited as a safety at Oklahoma.
And then he just keeps going. I mean, you think, okay, somebody's going to bring him down. He just keeps fighting and showing speed. He has so many instincts that you just cannot coach.
And here's the DB with the spin move. Wow.
That's L1 button for you NCAA football 2007 EA Sports fans out there. L1 gets you to spin.
However, let us point out that that hold did free him up a little bit, as we saw Malcolm Kelly over there with a handful of cornerback. First down and 2. Gutierrez now into daylight, and he bursts across the 40-yard line.
I think Bob Stoops must have talked to his offensive line after the last possession and probably talked to Alan Patrick. The first 2 drives, as we mentioned, they went right down the field, and since then they have been stopped, and it's because A&M's defensive line has been not only quick, but getting penetration to slow down the Sooner running game. This is the first time we've seen the Sooners look the way they did in those first 2 drives.
Sooners favored by a field goal in this one, lead it by 7. Final 30 seconds, and Gutierrez breaks free again and cruises into Aggie territory across the 45-yard line. Devin Gregg, the sophomore from Spring, Texas, with the tackle.
And watch this block right here by big George Robinson. Pull around at 325 pounds. Watch. Boom. That's how you run the football north and south right there, Kirk.
And they're going back to doing what they did in the first 2 drives, running downhill and rolling up their sleeves and going to power football.
Big George back down as a guard. Not this time for Gutierrez. He's thrown back. Chris Harrington in on that stop again. The 3rd quarter comes to an end here. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. So here we are, guys. Another one of the traditions before the start of the 4th quarter. And Coach Davey up here, he's got his rocket, man.
Wow,
oh, yeah. Just go with it.
Boy, I hope Mac Brown is not watching us, man. I'm telling you, this is big.
Hey, a couple of stiff dudes on the outside. The only athletes in the middle of that deal right
here. Now we get ready to resume play here. Hey, here's a bit of a surprise. Wake Forest 21, Boston College 14. Final on the magical year of the Demon Deacons continues. Meanwhile, Oklahoma incomplete. And down will change again for Paul Thompson and the Sooners, who lead it by 7.
And Paul Thompson had one right here. I want you to watch this wheel route down the sideline. Is wide open right here. And Paul Thompson doesn't see it, but the pressure of A&M. By Michael Bennett.
Yeah, didn't have the time there.
Exactly.
Bennett got in there, but is definitely an opportunity. You could tell that Oklahoma's been waiting for their chance to get the ball downfield.
Here's your 3rd down and 9 for Thompson and the Sooners. Kyle Stadium alive now. Play fake, Thompson, deep drop. Sack, ball down on the ground. Umpire quickly jumps in. Aggie football. A turnover. And the hit was delivered by Chris Harrington. Dave Elmendorf's nephew comes through as he knocks it loose and then recovers the fumble. What a play by the junior from Houston.
Well, they go with the play action here. Give credit, first of all, to Harrington, but downfield, the good job of covering the receivers, giving Harrington time to get in there and get to Thompson.
And working against the true freshman offensive tackle, Trent Williams. That's an experienced guy and a young guy, Kirk.
And Chris Harrington, we keep talking about him this second half. He has really had a good half.
What a turnaround by Gary Darnell's defense. Oklahoma's lost fumbles on its last 2 possessions. Now McGee, the feisty one, on the keeper, Stephen McGee. He won't back away from anybody. We've seen a little trash talking down there by the quarterback, and big Zach Latimer rolls in on him and makes that stop. Working against one of the best defenses in the Big 12 here from Oklahoma. There is young Harrington on the sideline.
Brent, you mentioned Gary Darnell. We've got to give him a lot of credit. This defense last year for A&M, 107th in the country. They are 52nd in the country right now. Gary Darnell and this defense has rallied in the second half.
2nd down and 9 for the offense. McGee behind the J train, who throws a block, but nothing doing. This will lead him in 3rd and long, but there's a penalty flag. Rufus Alexander walking away with part of his shoulder pad up in the air.
That's usually a sign it's holding, right?
Holding on the offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
Yemi Babaloa, who had returned this week, is back in the lineup. He plays for the he played for the Bryan Vikings, that high school team we went watched last night when they came up with a W that keeps their playoff hopes alive here in the area.
Anytime you're in conference play and you go on the road in a hostile environment, especially at night, one of the things that Bob Stoops and his team have done such a good job of since the Texas game is protecting the football. Only 3 turnovers coming into this game since that game, but tonight on the road, 2 costly turnovers. We'll see if the Sooner defense again can step up.
But they have put the Aggies in 2nd and 3rd and long following those 2 turnovers. It is the defense stepping back up. McGee can't find anybody, and he is sacked. Taken down by Stephen Coleman, the junior from Dallas.
This is just tremendous effort by Stephen Coleman. When you can pressure with 4 and eventually be able to get free and be able to get to a quarterback, it allows you to play with 7 on the back end. You can cover, and when you have relentless effort from your front 4 led by Stephen Coleman, it makes it very, very easy to put pressure on the quarterback.
Kirk, you're right. In OU's front, we look at Brent Venables over there on the sideline, the defensive coordinator. They haven't had many sacks this year, but that was a great effort sack.
Last time was 3rd and 32. Now it's 3rd and 28. Drops it off. Here's Goodson. They'll try to let him gain a few yards, and then they'll settle for the punt. Rufus Alexander on the speed merchant.
Brent, you touched on it. 2 turnovers, 0 points. Great job by Brent Venables. Great job by that Sooner defense of being put into a tough position. Good field position twice for Texas A&M, and nothing to show for it for the Aggies.
And Venables' eyes upstairs, Bobby Jack Wright, their co-defensive coordinators for Bob Stoops. And Justin Brantley trots back onto the field again. Only 27 points here tonight. A low-scoring game in College Station. 12:09. Look at the 3 bodyguards that a lot of these teams are using now. Protecting the punter. And this is a beauty. Fielded back on the 8 by Reggie Smith. And he'll be driven out of bounds near the 20-yard line. So the great Adrian Peterson. Quickly the officials separate them over on that far side. The great Adrian Peterson sideline in civilian clothes. When we come back, we'll hear from Adrian. He'll be down below with Lisa Salters as we continue with Saturday Night Football. And as Miami ties that game, here it is 17-10 Oklahoma over Texas A&M. 11:55 remaining in our 4th quarter. Oklahoma football, 1st and 10, coming out from their own 19-yard line. Quarterback Paul Thompson here tonight has thrown only 9 passes, 3 of 9 for 39 yards. Keeping it on the ground. Patrick ridden down at the 23. Let's go down to Lisa.
Thanks, Brent. Adrian, you don't have any pads on, but you are in the middle of every sideline huddle. What are you screaming to your guys right now?
I'm just motivating the guys, keep them going. You know, they're in a tough battle right now. Just keep them motivated.
Now, earlier, before the game, I saw you out there throwing and catching. I'm going to ask you what I asked you then. You have a broken collarbone. What are you doing? How's it feeling?
You know, I'm out there, you know, I'm 3 weeks into it right now, and I'm feeling a whole lot better. Basically, I'm just out there trying to get it loose, get my range of motion back. It's a slow process, but it's almost coming.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more question after this play.
All right, here is second down, Lisa. Play being stretched by Patrick, and let's send it back to the sideline.
The question I have for you, the same one I had for you pregame. When do you think you'll be coming back?
Hopefully, Oklahoma State possibility, but you got to check with the doctors and check their x-rays and see how it's healing.
So you've made up your mind. If you can play, you will?
Say again?
You've made up your mind. If you can play, you will?
Oh, I will. The game I love, so I'm playing.
Despite your NFL hopes?
You know, like I say, I'm not going to take any big chances, to hurt myself again. If I feel 100%, I'm going out there and ball. I got a ball.
All right, thank you, Brent.
All right, here's third down, dropped by Patrick. He turned a little too quickly as they were dropping it off, trying to get the 1st and 10, and Oklahoma forced a punt.
Just one last thing there about Adrian Peterson. He is a warrior. Forget about people who think, well, what about the NFL? This guy wants to play football. Do not be shocked if he's back even before a bowl game, like you said, maybe Okie State.
So Cohen will stand at the Oklahoma 6. Schrader figures to give them good field position. It is likely that Coach Fran will settle for that right now rather than going all out for the punt. Still 10 to go here in the 4th quarter. Let's see the thought process is. Get the football back and get field position if you can. Fair catch at the 39-yard line. That's where the Aggies, behind quarterback Stephen McGee, he has thrown only 13 times and completed 5 here tonight. So for both passing games, it's been a struggle. Oklahoma's rushed for 218 yards and the Aggies for 124. In honor of the 12th man here, and Bob, when you were an assistant coach, the entire kickoff team was composed of walk-ons.
Exactly. Jackie Sherrill started that tradition where all 10 players other than the kickers were walk-on players.
Goodson trying to break free. And again slowed up by Lindy Holmes before help arrives. And 26 yards by Mike Goodson, the freshman from Klein.
One of the few times we've seen daylight in a seam, and when Goodson has a seam, he knows what to do with that speed and acceleration through the hole. But that was a play that I think may have caught Oklahoma off guard there. Maybe they busted a gap.
You know, that's the old turn back draw. TCU ran that for years. Dennis Francione said if he had one play, that would be his play.
And here comes the J train who replaces Goodson. He batters straight ahead. Another 1st and 10 down the sideline and out of bounds finally. So the J train, 25 yards, upwards of 300 pounds. And how's that for being nimble as he worked the sideline?
Pretty funny when your lead back's 242 pounds. Alexander does a good job, and a tight end, Joey Thomas, getting a block downfield. But how 300 pounds following a 242-pound fullback and back-to-back plays. Here come the Aggies.
Now on Thursday, this is what Coach Fran worked on. Trying to score down around the 10-yard line. And did the buzzer sound? It's being replayed. Did he step out of bounds?
They're going to review it because his left foot, Brent, stepped on the out-of-bounds line. So this one's going to come back.
So cut before the snap. He was nimble, but not quite as nimble as we thought originally.
Right
Watch the left foot.
There, and that will be on the 17.
Indisputable video evidence. But I'm going to go back on what we saw in practice the other day.
Right there.
If you were with us a week ago with the Oklahoma game, Missouri had a 1st and goal from inside the 5. They could not score against this tremendous Oklahoma defense. Texas A&M spent 25 minutes working on just trying to get the ball into the end zone. Quick slants, options, read options, power plays, different kinds of ways to get the tight ends open down here. Francione knows how critical it is, especially on this series. Down by 7, he has got to get the ball into the end zone.
I think that ball will be spotted on the 17. Also think they'll probably put a couple seconds back on that clock because the clock continued to run.
After review, it was determined that the player stepped out of bounds on the 17-yard line. Ball we placed at the 17, 1st and 10.
They should put some seconds back on that clock, too, because the clock continued to run until he stepped out of bounds.
Now credited with an 18-yard run.
After review, it has been determined that the player stepped out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Texas A&M's ball, 1st and 10 from the 17. Please put 9:27 on the game clock.
So 4 more seconds go up, and
if every second may count in this football game, depending on what A&M does on this drive.
But you know, that was impressive by Jaworski Lane right there, tiptoeing that sidelines.
He'll take the break too.
He likes
a little bit of a blow right here and come back to work. And now you're going to watch one of the better defenses in the Big 12. The Sooners are over the last 2+ games had 5 interceptions, 15 passes broken up, a couple of fumble recoveries, and there they are, swarming, led by Zach Latimer.
Reason it's tough to run the football on this Oklahoma defense is because the athletic ability of their linebackers. Rufus Alexander gets so much attention, but Zach Latimer, I think, is just as good lateral movement, just as good as instincts as a linebacker, and it takes the whole team to bring down the J train, but they were there.
Great job of Oklahoma of spilling that ball and making him run east and west. They made it spill outside and go lateral.
See what Coach Frank comes up with on 2nd and 11. Shows power eye, play fake, and a throw out of it. Can they get the first down? Right at the marker is Chris Alexander. They throw to the fullback, something they have not shown here tonight. Alexander from Humboldt, Texas. He's a junior. First and 10, 1st and goal down there.
You had the feeling that they're going to have to go to some kind of play action, and they end up going to a young man who they have not called on, breaking a tendency there, I think catching Oklahoma off guard. And the good thing is they gave Alexander room to run after he made the catch.
And anytime you release that fullback on that play action, that tailback has to step up and block, and Jaworski Lane-Kirk with a great block on the defensive end.
The kind of play that Coach Fran worked on over and over again on a Thursday. Mike Goodson, number 3. He's got speed if they can get him outside. They're going to throw again. McGee going to flare, but that was not a well-thrown ball. Incomplete. They wanted to try and get the speed on the perimeter with the pass that time.
What they really wanted to do was get the guy to that Brent you've been calling for all night, but he gets caught up in traffic trying to get him on a delay off of the option action. See how he gets caught up? Latimer actually is with him, stays with him, and by the time he gets free, McGee had to carry it all the way to the outside and just ended up throwing it away. But they wanted to get the ball to Bennett down inside his 10-yard line.
That's a well-coached defense. Those linebackers reacted to that exceptionally well.
Now 2nd down and goal. McGee going to keep it in the air, going to run it now. Can he get there? No, he is short by a couple of yards. And the 2 big fellas, Alexander and Latimer, bring the pads.
They're spreading you out even down in this area with multiple receivers, tight ends, backs all going out. And if you're able to cover it the way Oklahoma is able to cover it, we have to go back to Stephen McGee and the fact he has the athletic ability to take off and give you that option instead of throwing it away, takes it down inside the 3-yard line.
I'll tell you what, he jumps up off that ground because he takes some licks, doesn't he?
We're coming over to the sideline timeout here. So the Aggies are down to their final timeout. Oklahoma still with all 3 remaining, 7:51 on the clock. The Sooners lead it 17-10. What will the Aggies come up with here on 3rd and 4th down? We'll find out. My board expert says this is 4-down territory. Kirk says give it to number 11 twice. Coach Davies says, how about the naked bootleg? So here we come, ladies and gentlemen. 3rd and goal now for the Aggies, down 7. The J train trying to quiet him down there. Motioning out is Riley. They're going to play fake. A deep drop, cannot take a sack down here, throws it away. Wow.
Typically, I love to be aggressive there. I just think that Bob Stoops and Brent Venables have a defense that's not only aggressive, but they're also very disciplined. I think they were expecting that, and we thought it was 4-down territory. But all of a sudden, Coach Fran thinks we got to get points here with just under 8 minutes to go.
And Venables just checked with Stoops on the call on this play. They seem pretty emphatic about what they expect here. And Coach Fran says we're going to go for the field goal unless it's a fake.
And yet what they were talking about, Brent, the safe field goal rush, they're playing fake all the way, Oklahoma. They're going to give them this field goal.
It's a 19-yarder. Brannion is the holder. He's a backup quarterback. They tack it on. Coach Davey, you thought it was 4-down territory. You don't agree with that. You think they should have tried to power in.
I would have run the ball on 3rd down, go for it on 4th down. After you throw it on 3rd down, Brent, it becomes a lot more difficult.
Kirk, you agree with that?
Well, the other thing you have to take into consideration is before that drive for Texas A&M, they had 6 straight possessions without points. I mean, they had 5 punts and they had a turnover in their last 6. So you got to wonder, are they going to get another opportunity to get the ball deep down in their territory to score points?
That's why I think it was 4-down territory, but you should have known that on 3rd down and run the football or naked boot off the run fake to Jaworski Lane. Set up a manageable 4th down. Once you throw it on 3rd down, you have to kick the field goal.
Yeah, exactly, because they didn't gain an inch.
Exactly.
They took that deep drop, which was somewhat surprising about what they did. But again, they worked on a variety of plays, different things. They were throwing the ball a lot in practice, trying to get it in the end zone. And Coach Fran settles for the field goal, down by 4, 7:41. Stoops now in the Sooners. Now they need a ball control drive here against Gary Darnell. Remember, Thompson has thrown it only 10 times and completed but 3 of them for 39 yards. Now the Aggie defense has played much tougher, and it is much easier when you're only trying to defend the run. And this ball will come out on the 20-yard line. And our Pacific Life game summary will take you back and show you some of the running backs that we've had in this game. Patrick, for example, 162 yards, and he scored the first touchdown of the game for the Sooners. Then the J train pounded back and 62 rush yards, and after that it was the fumble by Patrick that helped set it up here for the Aggies. But it was the Oklahoma defense which twice held after those turnovers. And now we'll see, guys, what this OU offense comes up with.
I think one thing that helps is Alan Patrick's had some time to rest over there on that sideline for Oklahoma, so he should be fresh.
To the middle for a couple.
It's been Jekyll and Hyde for Texas A&M's defense. Their defensive line has made some adjustments, playing with a lot more confidence. We were critical after the first 2 drives because Gary Darnell had his 2 safeties back at 15 yards. He still has them back. The only difference is right now Chris Harrington and the rest of the defensive line for the Aggies beating Oklahoma to the punch with great speed and quickness and getting penetration.
2nd and 8 for Oklahoma in the teeth of this crowd. Play fake's a beauty. Thompson going downfield, incomplete. Johnson, what a wonderful fake by Paul Thompson that time.
You know, Thompson comes into this game with a reputation of being efficient, making good decisions, settling in, getting back there. But right now, the ball's overthrown. He doesn't look very comfortable in the pocket. He doesn't look very confident when he gets back there. And that's what they're going to have here to be able to keep the drive moving, and if they want to kill some of this clock.
Oklahoma is only 1 of 7 tonight on 3rd down. They need 8 to keep it going. Rolling the pocket to the left. Firing incomplete. Kelly, the intended receiver, defended by the redshirt freshman Jordan Peterson. from Lexington, Texas, number 27.
You can see that Thompson feels much better getting to the outside, but let's give Melvin Bullitt a lot of credit, because from up here you couldn't tell, but he actually got a hand on the ball, and if he didn't get a hand up there, that ball is complete to Kelly, and they would have been able to pick up the first down.
And because this A&M defense forces three and out, the decision to go for the field goal looks like it was a good decision now, because this A&M defense stepped up.
Michael Cohen back to punt for the Sooners. Schrader awaits it for the Aggies. Not a good punt. On the bounce and out of bounds at the 43. So a bit of a short field coming up now for the Aggies. They've trailed all game long, but a golden opportunity coming up. Well, fans, stay tuned for your late local news immediately following the game over most of these ABC stations and over on ESPN Sports Center. Well, that post-game analysis along with all the scores and highlights of the day. This was a very big day for Louisville. All that talk about an unbeaten Big East team versus the one-loss teams. And when you look around the college football landscape, a lot of the so-called big fellas, they struggled today. Louisville with that impressive win on Thursday against West Virginia. Here's Goodson bolting, tripped up at the 25-yard line.
So now I got to get excited. Now I got to get excited about Stephen McGee. We've talked all night about his toughness and what he brings to this offense. Another great illustration. You see him leading the way after the handoff, getting downfield 20 yards and trying to pick up a block on the corner, Marcus Walker. Stephen McGee, you got to love this kid.
And Kirk, I want to tell you something. Curtis Lofton, the linebacker, number 40, let's give him credit, because he had tremendous effort play to get him down.
Saved a touchdown with that tackle. On the 26-yard line, the youngster spinning, and again we go back. This was one of the most highly recruited running backs in the country a year ago, out of Klein, Texas, Mike Goodson.
And ball security is the issue with this young freshman, but this little turn back draw play has become the play of the game right now for Texas A&M.
It's funny you say ball security. When he fumbled early in the game, his position coach said, we want you to walk. You always hear these stories, walk to class with the football, walk to meetings holding a football, and it's obviously helped him out.
2nd and 9. In underneath, keeping at the ball in number 3's hands, and over there was Rufus Alexander. Great senior linebacker from Baton Rouge making the stop. I want to tell you my favorite Stephen McGee anecdote that the coaches told us, and it was the offensive coordinator, Les Koenig, who told us that after a big touchdown the other day, and McGee into the end zone, he came over and was on the telephone, and he said, Coach, that was a wonderful call, but it wasn't just a great call. That was great recruiting.
Yeah.
So you talk about the youngster who's got some confidence. 3rd down and 9. And here he is under pressure, firing a screen in underneath, and Schrader is tripped up that time. And that was Darian Williams, the free safety from Mesquite.
Darian Williams, and it's a lot of speed on this Sooner defense. We've seen this defense come alive in the last 3 weeks. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. I think the secondary has a lot to do with that. Walker at one side, Holmes on the other, because it's allowed their safeties and linebackers to really turn it loose.
Now here's real confidence in your defense. 3:45 to go. Lane Newman, 39-yarder, if he kicks it, would make it a 1-point game, and the Aggies would have to get the ball back. They do just that. 3:30 left on the clock. 17-16, and of course that sets them up if they can get it down there and attempt a 3rd field goal right now.
And something to remember, A&M has had to burn some timeouts with the offense. A little bit of confusion. A&M down to 1 timeout with 3:28 to go. It almost comes down with the new rules in college football this year. Comes down to a 1st down for Oklahoma.
It almost comes back to just like we started the game. It's a 17-16 game, but Oklahoma's going to get the football, and you know they're going to run it. It's like the first drive of the game again.
Well, let's take a look at the ESPNU All-State standings review. Ohio State and Michigan get by, but not impressively, as you can see with those scores. West Virginia will be knocked out. Florida only 25-19 over Vanderbilt. And you know Louisville's going to jump. And I would dare say right now, given that Florida score, that they're going to jump to number 3 in the BCS. But we'll wait, and it'll all get sorted out, and we'll find out over the weekend, and we'll go from there. Right now, we got a 1-point football game. We got 3:28 to go here. The kickoff is on into the end zone and coming out of the 20-yard line, and now the focus is on the quarterback. The last 2 Oklahoma drives, 3 and out. So there is Paul Thompson over on the sideline. Josh Heupel, one of his tutors, of course, who has worked with him. I saw Josh win a huge game here in 2000. Linebacker by the name of Marshall intercepted a pass, ran it in, and saved the Sooners in their drive for a national championship. Now the crowd rocking in Kyle.
Sure, Heupel reminding Thompson with the new rules, not only the play clock, but the game clock already going down. He wants them to melt the clock as much as he can, with A&M having only 1 timeout.
You'll look down. 5 seconds on that play clock. They do bring it on in now. Snap on 2. Handoff. Patrick loses ground. Chris Harrington again. What a game. Number 92 is turned in here tonight.
Chris Harrington, his dad's very proud watching him tonight. He has been all over the field, and it's about the quickness of just getting through there, coming off a block. Not a great attempt of a block, but if you're Oklahoma, somebody might want to block number 92. Right now, he's all over the place.
The tight end didn't block down, and crowd noise, a lot of things going on right now. Not easy to execute.
2nd and 13 for the Sooners. Here's Patrick. Breaks out free, close to the first down. Brilliant run by number 23, the junior from Conway, South Carolina.
That's going to be an interesting spot of that football. He didn't get a very, very good spot, in my opinion.
He didn't get a great spot here, but he did pick up a huge gain. It was good blocking, but it was also acceleration, toughness. He shows a lot of power these last 3 weeks, and he comes up with a big carry there for the Sooners.
Remember, they're only 1 of 8 on 3rd down, and here they are with a 3rd and 1. But they've got 2 threats here, either Thompson or Patrick, and this time Stoops wants to talk about it. He's out on the field. They're going to let that clock come down, and then they will use a timeout, and they will bring it over with 1:35 remaining now. Oklahoma attempting to milk the clock. Got a timeout. And of course, a reminder to stay tuned for your late local news immediately after the game over most of these ABC stations. Over on ESPN SportsCenter, we'll have post-game analysis along with all the scores and highlights of the day. Upset in the big race at the Breeders' Cup. Sure they'll show it to you. Here we are, the Aggie fans. When you take a look at Coach Fran's record, has not been good in November. And coming up after this, we have Nebraska and Texas. And Coach Fran 0-7 against those 3. So this is a huge, huge game for A&M.
Guys, I think the officials are going to maybe take a peek at the spot of the football.
I agree with that.
Might have a lot to do with why Bob Stoops called the timeout, not only just to run the clock down, but just to give the heads up to the officials about where the spot should be. It should actually be up to the 29-yard line. It's about a full yard there that Oklahoma may get, but the left knee, this is going to be an interesting call because the left knee looks like it came down before the arm extended all the way out to the 29. See,
a little better spot than I thought.
Yep. If you get caught up in where the arm comes down with a football, you think it's the 29, but the left knee.
Okay, where's the ball when the left knee touches? I think it's going to be closer to the 29-yard line than the 28-yard line. So I think Oklahoma will gain about a half-yard on this spot.
And the way they've been moving the ball in the second half, a half yard is huge with Texas A&M.
And you know, if you're Oklahoma looking forward now to 3rd down, the first thing on my mind if I'm Oklahoma, no false start penalty on the offensive line. They've had a bit of history of false starts. Get the ball snapped and hand the ball to Alan Patrick. pretty loud in here right now, huh? But you have to love instant replay, don't you?
I
Get
do.
it
Some
exactly
people don't.
right.
I love it.
As long as they can get it right.
There are some
I
people
should say
in
that.
Norman, Oklahoma are not agreeing with you right now on that.
You don't even think if we give them an extra half yard right now, they'll start to tip over our way a little bit?
I still don't think that's enough
No,
of a makeup.
not enough of a makeup. No. You're looking at a team 6-2 that should be 7-1. We all know that.
Another thing, if I'm Oklahoma, guys, don't try to check the play at the line of scrimmage. Whatever you call in the huddle, regardless of what defense they're in, snap it.
After review, the ball will be placed at the 29-yard line. It's short of the line to gain. Third down. Oklahoma is not charged a timeout.
It's a great job.
Yeah, it gives them another yard. And not only do you not want to change any plays, but I think it's also good to go on at first or second count without giving the offensive lineman much time to sit up there and worry about what's happening with your quarterback. Get down and get ready to come off the ball. This is it. If they pick up a first down, it's the ball game.
1:35, 3rd and 1.
It's interesting. Red Bryant, Brent, 330-pound defensive tackle, not in the game right now for Texas A&M. Maybe some injuries. Didn't play last week against Baylor.
I would keep playing the same guys that have played this second half and have been able to use quickness getting through this Oklahoma offensive line, because it's going to take that to stop the Sooners here on 3rd and short.
I find big number 72, George Robinson, and Chris Messner, and run behind them.
Third and 1 coming up. Patrick battles for it, and he's going to get it, it looks like. So for those of you who joined us, having watched Virginia Tech defeat Miami, we are looking at a very important spot as the Texas A&M defense on the right has been holding Oklahoma. It's a 1-point game right now. The Sooners leading 17-16. 1:29 to go. And that much. They'll bring the chains out. And here comes the measurement.
And how big was the review
to get the extra yard?
This extra yard, because I think he made it, looking at the yellow line.
Inches. Wow. Did not make it. 4th down. Did not make the first down. It is 4th and inches.
A&M will probably use their last timeout here, so they'll be out of timeouts when they get the ball back to Stephen McGee.
Patrick being tended to. He's the running back for Oklahoma, who's rushed 32 times for 173 yards. We've had very little passing in this game. Take one more look at this.
It's just it's who wants it more, and it ends up being Melvin Bullitt, the safety, who comes in there untouched, unblocked, and able to slow down Patrick right at the line of scrimmage. And Bob Stoops is an aggressive coach, but I don't even think Bob Stoops can go for this.
He's going to let the clock run down and punt it, but Bullitt unblocked in that hole, Kirk.
Now the big question is, will Fran go all out after this punt? 1:29. Any kind of a roughing call here, any kind of a penalty, of course, would continue to give Oklahoma a chance. They would run the clock out right now. On the other hand, there's only 1:29 left. Each of the last 2 times the Aggies have come down and kicked field goals. They trail it by a point, 17-16.
A&M has blocked 1 punt this season.
Throughout his coaching career, Coach Fran has featured tremendous special team play. TCU, Alabama, and here at Texas A&M. And the Oklahoma coaching staff continuing to pace on that far sideline with 1:29 up on the clock.
Brent, that wind, you look up at those flags on top of the stadium, it's a pretty significant wind. Keep in mind, A&M has the wind advantage right now.
Unless Bob Stoops is maybe thinking of just decoying, he's got a lot of the offensive players huddled up right now, and Adrian Peterson's getting in the grill of all the offensive linemen. Is it just me, or does it look like Bob Stoops is going for it right here at his own 30-yard line?
They're talking about it over there.
Brody Eldridge is one of the tight ends. Jay Train, Aggies big back. They had all 3 timeouts left, so they're going to use one of them right here and continue to talk about it. You make a mistake on this play, and you have virtually handed the Aggies an opportunity to win it. They've hit their last 2 field goals. Coach Davey, would you ever think here, even though it's only inches, your quarterback's a pretty good running back, would you think of going for it here?
I would punt the football. Now, I know I'm conservative, but I have a great defensive football team. Let that defense have a chance to play. If you don't make it, it's a field goal, and the game's potentially over right now.
Not to mention A&M is out of timeouts. Your defense has played incredibly well. The Aggies have not been able to throw the ball tonight. They have 63 yards all game through the air. If there's one coach in America that would go for it, it would be Bob Stoops. But even Bob Stoops, I can't imagine going for it, because, Brent, you said it. If you don't make it, you've got a field goal kicker for Texas A&M and Lane Newman, who's made a 52-yarder.
I'll say this, though. If he's not going for it, he's done a tremendous job selling those kids of play acting like they are going for it, because of all body language, Oklahoma looks like they're going for it right here.
Yeah, look at it.
There's Heupel with the offense as they break and come back onto the field. Now, well, he simply tried to draw them offside here to jump. Paul Thompson's back on the field. Gutierrez is the running back. He's the tailback. Straight ahead with the quarterback for a first down.
The Bush push.
Timeout Oklahoma before the ball was snapped.
Oh,
before
goodness.
The ball was snapped.
Before the ball was snapped.
The mind game's backfiring that time on Oklahoma. If the play would have run, they clearly had the first down.
Wow.
Now will they change the call?
I think Bob Stoops had second thoughts right before the ball was snapped, because he called the timeout over on the sideline.
Yep. And I don't know if it was one of those, Brett, those NBA timeouts where you see what they come out in, and then you wait to call the timeout after you see their formation.
Watch the sideline now. Keep an eye on Stoops. There he is. Timeout right there with the headlinesman. Timeout, timeout.
Wasn't a lot of panic there. It seemed to be premeditated.
Now this is the, you can see the official clearly coming in prior to the snap, signaling that the coach had called the timeout.
And maybe it was, if they're in this look, we're going to go ahead and run the sneak. If they're not, we're going to call timeout.
I think he wanted to see a certain look from the A&M defense and what kind of goal line defense they would go with. But I love how Thompson just came up and went. There was very little hesitation.
Whatever it was, they're doing it again.
The Sooners coming up with 4th and inches. Same play, breaks free on the left side for a first down. And a penalty flag is down on the field. There is a penalty flag. So hang on here.
How many?
Almost looks like it's too many men on the field.
Illegal participation
for A&M.
That was the initial motion down there.
Let's look at the all 22 and count them here real quick.
Illegal participation on the defense.
That can't happen.
12 men on the field,
Oh, no,
15 yards. It's enough for a first down.
That's an incredible mistake.
Of all the time that transpired there, there's 12 guys out there.
You got
Go ahead, Kirk.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, 12 right there in the back. 12th man.
And unbelievable. Boy, they aren't kidding when they say home to the 12th man.
Oh, man.
Couldn't resist.
Oh, no, they don't.
Wow.
Ding.
Oh, my goodness.
And how about Bob Stoops, though? Going for it on 4th down, Kirk.
Well, see, you ripped him when he did when he did it's his personality. When he did the onside kick and they didn't recover it, that's just he coaches to win.
I'll give you a stat.
The guy
This
coaches
is Oklahoma's first down this quarter. And what a critical point in this game as they take the victory formation here in Aggie land in sort of a stunned silence because 4th and inches and you had them gambling to go for it, and suddenly you give it to them with 12 men. It wasn't even somebody trying to get off the field and just got caught with a snap. It was 12 guys lined up out there.
Yeah, but let's make this point. Oklahoma made the first down, even with 12 guys. So in essence, the game was over anyhow, but it looks bad when you have 12 guys on the field on that critical of a play.
So Bob Stoops and Oklahoma win it, but only by a point. They escape College Station. They keep their winning streak alive. They have now won 4 games in a row.
That guy's a ball coach right there, Bob Stoops. There's no doubt about it.
And he is still in the running for a BCS game with this, as he's over with Coach Fran. 17-16. Oklahoma wins it again in our Chevrolet. Players of this game: Alan Patrick, 173 rushing yards. Quarterback Stephen McGee for the Aggies, 63 passing yards, 28 rushing yards. Let's go down below now to Lisa.
Thanks, Brent. Coach Stoops, 4th down at your own 30.
Hey, just like that onside kick, sometimes you just got to, hey, you know, maybe if they didn't have the wind, and though it's not heavy, it's still a factor. It's going to hold our kick up a little bit. It's going to give them an advantage kick, and I thought we got to be able to make an inch. And so, fortunately, it worked, and we got a good break.
What happened when it looked like Paul Thompson the first time you went for it? Actually, it got to be called timeout. What happened?
I wanted to see the look, and you know, so I called timeout so that we saw, just in case we needed to do something around the end. And we still thought, hey, after talking about it, all we need is an inch. We got to knock them off. Paul made a nice play because they stuffed us initially, and he got over.
Your defense did a lot of bending, but it did not break. How critical was it of them to keep A&M out of the end zone those last 2 drives? They had to settle for field goals.
We've had big 4th down stops last week as well. They're playing really well, and a few penalties on the early drive that really hurt us. But fortunately, you know, again, defensively we were really sharp, and offensively loved the way we ran the football, and they were playing a real conservative coverage in the secondary and gave us some opportunities to run. But anyway, we're fortunate. It was a heck of a game here.
Thanks a lot, Coach. You made it fun.
Thank you.
Brent?
Remind me never ever to play poker with that man right there. Once again, the final score: Oklahoma wins it 17-16. And a reminder, the countdown is underway. We're 13 days, 16 hours away from the showdown in Columbus. Number 1 against number 2, Michigan, Ohio State. November 18th, 3:30 Eastern Time on ABC. We thank all of you for watching ESPN football on ABC here tonight. It was another dandy. And Oklahoma takes a W back to Norman. So long, everybody.